So the camera is right here, so all others can actually stay on this side. I'll put the camera on this side, so that everyone will have like it will appear like everyone is in one side. That's a table too. So, so this cell phone is actually our live stream camera. So I prefer to place it here. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So that it'll have a good, view of everyone. So these are benches. Everyone can use these benches. Yes, these are benches. So we're gonna start with Reserva. Is she here? We'll have Cynthia later. I'll have you the 10th, Cynthia. These are benches. You guys can sit here in the middle too. This is a chair. This is a chair? Yes. So we rented these benches. I understand you guys. It appears like they're tables, but these are benches.
Wait, is this a bench or a table?
That's a bench. I am as surprised as you.
I'm all confused.
Okay, so here's the sequence so far. Please pay attention. We're gonna have Reserva first, Rosie, and then we're gonna have Diona Young, and then we're gonna have Derek, and then Joan Sleeve, then Alex, Napasorn, Natalia, Ramin, Luis, and Cynthia. So far that I have not called their names yet, please come here so I can put you on the queue list.
Thank you, James. We're doing a great job.
You can be here, okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna step outside. Let other people know. I'm flexible.
All right.
I'll put my name. I wasn't anybody else, so I have no plans to go in for.
I'm going to be signing, so I need to.
Are you scheduled now?
I was scheduled
For your book signing?
at 1:30, and they told me to be here at 1.
They'll be here at 1. Okay. So I'll have you speak after her. And then you can invite everyone to be at your book signing table.
Oh,
All right?
okay.
So just a little tweaking though. After Zerma, we're gonna have Cynthia. She's one of our book signing authors. So it's time for book signing at 1:30. So she's gonna invite everyone to be here at her booth for the book signing. So just right on time.
Hello, everyone.
Just speak louder. Okay?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Why don't we give everyone a round of applause while we open the afternoon session of the LA Times Festival of Books, the Reader's Magnet booth here at booth 225. Welcome, everybody. How's your quick lunch? Very quick. I think that was just 10 minutes. Okay, so we have a lot of authors who are scheduled to speak again this afternoon, and we're going to be starting off with Uzurma, and I think there's going to be 10 more later on. So I'm welcoming everyone again here at the LA Times Festival of Books, booth 225 for Reader's Magnet. We share your story with the world. Welcome, storytellers and book lovers. And we're going to be inspired with the stories of the authors who are here, not just displaying their work, but really talking about the reason why they're working hard in writing their stories and sharing it with the world. To start off our afternoon session, we have a very young author who was raised in New York, surrounded by the love of family. She moved to Georgia over a decade ago, where she has built strong roots in faith and family. Roserma is a certified physician associate and finds great joy and purpose in helping others. She is also a podcaster of the Palm Tree podcast, where she journeys through setbacks and empowers listeners with practical tips and advice on how to handle life's storms in a healthy way. To talk more about the disempower of disappointment, let's hear it from the author herself, Roserma Connie. A round of applause.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Saturday. Hope everyone is doing okay with this beautiful weather. That is always good, and water. I will first read an excerpt from my book. Recently, I had a conversation with my daughter, who is a teen at 10. Though I have not witnessed her play personally, I know this by many trophies and stories she has shared. During our conversation, she described a recent game with one of her opponents. She and the opponent kept going back and forth, rallying for over 10 minutes. Yet, she maintained her endurance and stamina. I thought, wow, my opponent, the trial, kept hitting me with the wrong words and thoughts. Hence the reason I lost the endurance and stamina to continue the fight. I had dropped the racket and left the arena. However, the next round, I came ready. Hi, everyone. I'm the author, Rosemary Cornet. This is my first book, Disempower the Disappointment, which details how I went from a disappointment to resilience. With this book, I go into detail also of how you can too become encouraged and take your power back from a disappointment and empower yourself daily. I'm also writing my second book, which goes into more about how to be resilient no matter what storm comes your way. Because in life, we all go through storms, but we have to empower ourselves each day and redefine them. So then the power is yours and not the trial. Thank you, everyone.
Do you have questions for Roserma about her book?
Any questions?
I'm very curious to know the inspiration behind this.
First, it was part of my journal, and then I met a fellow author who told me to put what I was writing into a book. Also, with everything I was going through, I realized there were many people who felt alone like I did. So this book is to say, me too. I've been through where you are. I've been through the dark thoughts. And also, we can all become resilient after a life storm. That the power is actually within you and not the storm itself.
Awesome. If you were to cite one tribulation that up to this very day is very remarkable, something that really shaped you as who you are today, can you tell us about that story?
What shaped me mainly was my relationship with God and the fact that even though I turned my back on Him, He continued to pursue me and shine this little spark of light to remind me, like, I am here with you, that you were never alone.
Amen to that.
If you would like to purchase the book, please go to roadtoresilient.com. Also, we have some at Booth 225 available for purchase. Also, a nice gift and t-shirts like this, Ben the Unbreakable.
Thank you so much. Let's give it up for Rosanna.
Thank you, everybody.
Our next speaker wrote the book Identity Crisis, The Debilitating Disease of the Church. Diona, the author of the book Designed for a Purpose. There you go. Diona is in a class of her own because when it comes to the words no or can't, they're not in the vocabulary. Throughout all the twists and turns, she has found a way to still climb the great wall of success. Now she is using this platform to inspire others to never give up. To talk about design for a purpose, let's hear it from the author herself, Diona Young. A round of applause, please.
Just use this one instead. Use that one.
This one?
Just use that mic.
You want me to stay right here?
Can you go there? Fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go. Awesome. You'll be next.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Did you get a mic?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, you guys, we made it. Okay. My book is entitled Design for Purpose. And many ask why the title of the book, and it's because it's exactly what it says. We are all designed for a purpose, and those many don't know me, but any people that do, they know I had a hard upcoming because of a disability, and I was more so like downing myself, and there was a time where I wanted to take my own life, and I was like, no, can't do this. I'm here, so there must be a purpose why I'm here, and I heard a voice say, I'm not ready for you yet. What are you doing? So after that voice, I got up and I enrolled in college. And I must say, I think I succeeded. And after college, I decided to write a book to show people it doesn't matter how you start the game of life, it just matters how you finish. So fight to the finish and you can get this done. So that is the motivation behind my book. And let's remember, we are all designed for a purpose. And if you would like to purchase the book, you can purchase it at Barnes and Noble, and it's also on Amazon. So thank you very much for your time. And I love you all, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Diona Young, everybody, the author of the book Designed for a Purpose. Thank you so much. Such a very inspiring story. Do you have any questions for Diona?
What would you say is the one thing that got you through?
God.
Do you have a website, your whereabouts? Where can we find Diona?
I don't have a personal website, but you can find me on YouTube at Design for Purpose Young, and I also um, do podcast, and my podcast is Design for a Purpose, and you can find that on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Thank you so much, Diona. Okay, we have several authors who are scheduled in the afternoon, but this time we're going to be hearing it from one of our book signing authors. She's scheduled at 1:30. She's giving away copies of her book. But before that, there's a cutie of my, my legs right now. Hello. Our next author, she was here yesterday. She was so excited of her book signing today. Dedicated to teaching children and young teens, she graduated from college with 2 majors in education and a minor in psychology. She taught for over 30 years, and she was born and raised in northern Michigan, known as the Upper Peninsula. It was here where her passion for Mother Nature began. The book is a gripping and compelling autobiographical novel that allows readers to connect with the author's survival and healing from sexual, emotional, and physical abuse. The emotions are shown through the eyes of Lily, the protagonist. She takes the reader on an unforgettable journey of twists and turns that will keep the reader turning pages. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the author of the book, Quiet Fear. Let's hear it from Cynthia Giacchino.
Hi. Yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here and to listen about my book. And it's quiet here. And we often think of fear as sometimes being scream and shout and run, but this is about fear that's quiet. And we think no one can see it, but we can see it and we can feel it, and the person knows that it's there. So, Quiet Fear is an autobiographical novel, which means that it's a story and it's about me, about my life from the time I was born to the time now, which I'm a senior citizen. And it follows my life in 2 strands. So the story is twisted with two topics, basically. It begins with a young character that is my heart in the story, Lily. And Lily needs help. She's like a hot mess. And she's just had a baby, and she doesn't feel like she can be a good mother. And she doesn't really know if being a mother is safe for her, and she's struggling. So she knows that she needs to go for help. And that's where the story starts, the first story. The second story is Lily being born to a family in the Midwest that has very religious, they're strong Catholic faith. Father was in the war, World War II. Mom's a great mom. And we live in the country where we don't live in a city or a town. We live like in the sticks, in the woods. So there's a lot of referring to what life is like growing up almost like off the grid and with my brother. But then there's a marriage in our family where an aunt marries a man that is in the underground, the dark pornographic underground of child pornography. And he marries into this family which has a ton of girls. Well, that's where the second story starts, is when Lily is born and the new uncle in the family with my mother's sister become my godparents, which gets a twist of faith in there too, and how they use faith to interlope into the minds of the family. It's not a telling book. I don't tell about my events like this happened now and this happened then. So if you're a person that you say, oh no, I don't want to read about abuse because it's just too hard for me to handle, this book takes you on a little different avenue towards abuse. Lily starts off as a baby, and you will grow with Lily. She is going to take you on a trip that you've never been on before, through all kinds of emotional, physical traumas, and how she survives them. She's a very smart little girl, and she's a very angry teenager. And what does she do with all that anger when she's a teenager and in college? And she wants revenge. Her parents don't believe her. She needs to break the silence. This can't go on in the family. She's stuck with a lot of problems to fix. She turns to drinking. She turns to drugs. It's a story of showing. I'm showing you what it's like to be a child who gets her childhood taken away. And what do these children do? Even today we hear about children losing the feeling of safety in their homes. I lost that feeling of safety in my home when I was very young. And read a book and find out, what does Lily do? What do children do today, even today, when they don't feel safe or when they feel hurt or if they've been traumatized? It's a book that really brings power to the women of families and how important we are in a family to make it a healthy family for everyone. And women play a big part in that. So, does Lily turn her anger into hate and take it out on other people? Maybe. Does Lily turn her anger into herself and takes it out on herself? Does she turn her anger somewhere else that you may not expect it? But I do give you a clue in the beginning of the book, and you may not know until the very last 20 pages. So that is Quiet Fear, and I hope you pick up a copy. I'll be over there. It's a free copy, and I'll be signing the book and spread the resilience, the power, and the strength of women in the family and women in the world today.
Thank you so much, Cynthia Giacchino. Thank you so much, ReadersMagnet, for the opportunity. Cynthia Giacchino will be giving and handing out a copy of her book. She'll be at booth 1, probably in the next 5 minutes or so. She's going to be going around. She's going to be handing copies of her book. Are we all good? I'm starting to lose my voice, but it's okay.
I know.
Okay. I also noticed that probably the sun is going to go down here and it's going to wash us all. Probably some of you can move inside, so it won't be too hot. We can still utilize this bench. You guys can move in. Just get inside so it won't be too hot. Also, this chair is available. You can use this. All right. Thank you so much. We're down to the next author that we have for this afternoon. And before I forget, again, Readers Magnet is live right now in our different channels. We have YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you have time, you can go on Facebook right now, search Readers Magnet. That will be the first thing you will see, and you can share it on your profiles so that your friends can watch it as well, wherever you are in the world. Again, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Search Readers Magnet and share our channels. All right, our next author is the author of the book Limitless. He shares some of the major aspects of his life in Limitless as a guide to help on your journeys, in your life's journey. Reading this book will help you unleash your full potential by inspiring you to set goals and standards that will help you achieve your own limitless growth. The author lost 140 pounds, an earned MBA, owning his first home at the age of 25, and achieved a plethora of other goals. To talk about Limitless, let's hear it from the author himself. Derek Grissom. A round of applause.
Thank you, thank you. So I'll make this quick. My name is Derek Grissom, as was stated. The name of the book is Limitless. And what caused me to write the book was I was talking to a mentor who stated that your story needed to be heard. So I was not thinking about becoming an author. Actually started writing this in September of last year and completed it in March 10th, well, in March of this year. That's when it was published. The whole purpose of the book is to help motivate and inspire people to be the best version of themselves. And when I say be the best version of themselves, be it without excuses. I am the product of a single parent household. Grew up the oldest of three. I was 350 pounds. Now I'm 200 pounds. That was a big accomplishment. This is the old version of me. He's not coming back. I have some other accomplishments that I think is worthy of noting. I went from GED to MBA. So I dropped out of high school because I didn't think school was important. And then I realized how important school was shortly after needing to pay bills. So went back to school. And I talk about identity crisis. One of the things that I learned is that a lot of people have identity crisis, whether it's loneliness, not feeling like they're accomplished enough, lack of education, weight, you name it. All of us have something that we've dealt with in the past that we need motivation about. I use this book as a way to inspire you. If Derek can, you can. That's all I want you to say. No matter what it is you're going through, if Derek can, you can. And the subtitle is Your Potential is Limitless. There are no limits in what you can do if you put your mind to it. And there certainly aren't any excuses because if Derek can, you can. If you want to reach out to me, my website is mylimitlessgrowth.com, mylimitlessgrowth.com. I do have some postcards that I'll leave. But again, say it with me one good time. My potential is limitless. Go.
My potential is limitless.
I love it. Have a good one.
Where can we find you, Derek?
Website, mylimitlessgrowth.com.
mylimitlessgrowth.com. Let's hear it again for Derek Grissom. So while waiting for Joan again, Reader's Magnet is live. We have a few, not few, but several authors after. Again, to those names that I've yet to mention, meaning you're not on the list, so please be enlisted so you can speak. So after Derek, we'll have Joanne Sleep, then Miranda, and then we'll have Alex, Nabastorn, Natalia, Ramin, Louis, Cynthia, Irene, Nanny, and Bryant. To those authors who just came by and visited and would like to also speak and talk about the book and what inspired you to writing it, please have yourself enlisted. Okay? If you see me, just approach me. All right, this time. Did you find it? Awesome.
Hi there.
Okay, to talk about the book, we're going to be traveling back again to children's book this time. Most of the time, children's books are very, very interesting. And it's about the secret life of bears. Let's hear it from the author of the book, The Secret Life of Bears, Joan Sleep. A round of applause.
I am not going to tell you about the book. I'm going to read the book to you. Can you hear it if I go? Want to know a secret? I'm a bear. Oh no, I'm not like the bears that live in the mountains and hibernate. I'm more like a teddy bear, but alive. That's because my dad is a lot like a teddy bear, but alive. In fact, my dad is the bestest bear ever. He is the cuddliest, most faithful, and lovey-dovey bear ever. He's the smartest and most wonderful. He is always, always here with me. He made the entire universe, full of billions of galaxies, planets, and stars. And he holds it all in his hands. He also made the tiniest things there are, like ladybugs, and even smaller things. He cares about them all. Best of all, he loves me. Loves me, loves me. And I love him back. He makes me happy and free. Sorry, this is a bit awkward. He teaches me how to be the best bear I can be and tells me wonderful things I wouldn't otherwise know are true. Notice the little toys and pictures. There's a family picture right there. You see it? We go on adventures together. My personal favorite is the polka dotted hippo. We dance and sing together. We even tell each other jokes. They're falling down laughing with tears coming out their eyes because they can't stop laughing. And when I'm sad or hurt, we cry together too. He's here to hold me, stroke my head, and kiss my boo-boos so they heal. In short, he is the best bear ever. And he helps me be like him. And here's the secret, although it really shouldn't be a secret at all. You can have him as your dad too. Jesus is his name. All you have to do is ask him to be your dad and let him help you with whatever is going on in your life. What do you think? Do you want him to be your dad too? I think you would love having Jesus as your dad. He already loves you. Yes, no, he's not an actual bear. Not living in the woods, but he is exactly how I've described him in this story. And he has always been my bear. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I have a question. Where can we find the book, Joe?
It's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. My website is secretlifeofbears.com. So you can get it in all those places. And hopefully it will be coming to a bookstore near you sometime soon.
Is this the only book that you have written, or you've written other books as well?
I've written a number of technical books, like 100 or so. But this is my first fun one. Technical books are not fun.
Is this the only and the first children's book that you've written, or most of the books are children's books?
No, this is the only children's book. Like I said, all the others were technical, like how to manage a national nonprofit board, guaranteed to put you to sleep.
Quite technical, huh? Thank you so much. Any other questions for Joan? All right, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much, Joan. The Secret Life of Bears. Our next speaker.
And by the way, it is Joanne Sled.
Oh, Joanne Sled. With double N, right?
Yep.
Thank you, thank you. Our next speaker was born in Kashmir and received his higher education in India, Australia, and the United States. He taught and conducted research in nutrient physiology and restoration of distributed ecosystems at various universities in India and the United States. The book, The Beauty of Being Human, not human being, but being human, is authored by Dr. Nirinder Savaya, presents 200 exquisite poems of life, love, light, and consciousness. To give us more, the story behind and the inspiration behind the beauty of being human, let's hear it from the author himself, Nirinder Savaya. A round of applause.
Thank you for allowing me to speak to you about what are these books.
these two books came in about 2016 and 2020, and there are 150 poems in one book, the previous one, and there are 200 poems in this book. As you know, I don't have any training in being a literaturist, but I'm a physiologist. I've written in that area about 250 publications and papers. So this was a new challenge. And the question is why? Why did I undertake to encapsulate human feelings? The reason was this, that science uh, seems to be alien to those who seem to have greater affinity for knowing more about God and what defining God and worship, etc. And they both do not seemingly talk with each other, although their goal is the same, to find the truth. So how come these two big domains, which are undertaking to find truth, cannot find any agreement between the two of them? The second challenge was this, that we think that everything is objective in this world. And this gentleman says to his lovely wife, why can't you be objective? The point is this, 80% of our dealings in this world are subjective. What we believe, what we think, right? There's nothing objective about it. These are your feelings fitted with other people's feelings. So I wanted to bring a little gap, adjustment between the two. The third thing was that I wanted to explore that how we meet our needs and aspirations in our childhood, youth, old age, and so on and so forth. And what is it that everybody wants to find health, love, affirmation by God, and in spite of everything we do, we don't find it. The question was therefore a little psychological, that way all of our desires are almost similar. I found that it is in the method of our behavior, how we approach our needs. And that generated a book which has poems on life in general, love and passion in general, and then light and consciousness. And I was trying to weave a kind of a loosely structured, literary, um, God and science dialogue with each other, and through the medium of psychology and philosophy. All right. That's it. And this book was published by iUniverse. No, I'm sorry, by Slibris. And this book was published by iUniverse. And this has, both of them have a kind of a continuity and a superimposition. So you can call this book as selected works, and this is my complete works on the area of
Can you read one? Huh? Can you read a poem?
Oh yes.
I think all this would be
Yeah. I have all different kind of themes. No two poems are alike because no two thoughts of ours are alike. No two people are alike. So I'll read you a very simple, precise poem, Heart and Soul. Sometimes we don't know what soul is. Heart and soul. So, we talk of soul, believing it dwells in us, not knowing its real origin, nature, or goal. We're confused about it. A lot of people have no. This is it. We use our mind to explore this world and more without finding what connects it to our soul. When we ask our heart quietly, what should we do to connect the two? The heart replies, fill me love, fill me with love. And that is the message all the prophets and even the Son of God himself gave. Fill your hearts with love. So my two basic technical answers to something is this. If we could expand our conscience, I stop and I feel a little bit guilty. If we expand the consciousness, our conscience, not conscience. And if we expand our consciousness, what is this? Who is this? What is all that?
Thank you. A round of applause once again to Mirander's player. Thank you so much, sir. So where can we find you in your books?
Well, they're anywhere. Amazon, they are on Barnes and Nobles. You can order them from anywhere, including publishers like Excelverus or Universe. They are being traced these days in China. They're in South Africa on their shelves and all over the world. I found the greatest absorption of these books in Northern Europe, China, and Japan, and South Africa. Maybe they are wrestling with these kind of issues.
Is the book translated into those other languages, obviously?
No, it's not translated yet. I think the book has gone under the ice of, I think. Although this forward clear review said about it, a sensory delight, dazzling and reflective mix, a frequency prize. Reflections on being human works towards truth and self-actualization, with many poems hinting at ultimate, perfect unity, surprising imagery to uncommon and timeless. This was a very large book. But this book was rated as one of the best books that was published or republished in 2016, and it included William Butler Yeats. I was 7 and William Butler Yeats was at 10. So I don't have to look at it. Yes. Thank you so much.
Miranda, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for writing these stories. Your paper. Okay, there you go. Okay, our next author is very interesting. I actually love his background when I was reading his profile. He is a photographer, filmmaker, and author from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Trained as an apprentice in film, screenwriting, and videography at an early age at Pittsburgh Filmmakers Institute. Alex's work in photography has been printed in Adbusters magazine, Vancouver, British Columbia, and on the New York Times website. The trailer for his movie, The Thin Green Line, was streamed on Ynet, a popular Israeli internet site, on January 2011. To talk about the Raj of Drangat.
Yes.
How do I say this, Alex? Help me.
Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Alex Goldblum. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. This is my new book, The Raj of Drangadra. Drangadra is the capital of the former kingdom of Halvad Drangadra, in a region known as Jalavad in western India, in the modern state of Gujarat. This is a photo book. I work in the genre of photo books, and I've independently published 27 photo books with topics ranging from the history of Jalavad and Western India to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And I've created a number of books about different geographies in the East Coast. Um, I first went to India in 2005 when I was a student at Temple University in Philadelphia. My college professor is a gentleman named Dr. Jayasinji Jala. Dr. Jala is my co-author on this book. When I first met Dr. Jala, he explained to me that he was Indian royalty, but I had to wrap my head around it because India became a democratic republic in 1947. But prior to 1947, the kings of Drangadra, who are known as the Jalashvar Maharajas, the kings of Jalavad were the political rulers for 900 years. The kingdom of Jalavad was founded in the 12th century. This book is the culmination of 18 years of research into the history and the culture and the daily lives of people in Jalavad. One of the most unique places I visited is a place called the Halvad Citadel. And the Halvad Citadel is situated on Samansar Lake. It was built between 500 to 600 years ago. And the fortress remains in rather good shape considering its age. This is in the Western mind and for Western tourists who visit India, I feel like certain areas in Gujarat are really relatively unknown to the Western reader. So these photographs provide an insight into the history of the Jalashvars and the history of the Hindu kings of Jalavan. I'm really proud of this book because, like I said, it's the culmination of 18 years of visual research. I started as an undergraduate in Philadelphia. Thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. And if you would like to purchase a copy of the book, it's available on Amazon. And you can also find it on alexgoldblum.com.
Thank you so much, Alex. It was mentioned in your profile that you do have a trailer or a teaser. Was it a movie?
Yes,
Can you tell us more about it?
In addition to being an author and a photographer, I'm a filmmaker. My latest film project is entitled The Thin Green Line. It's a project about it's a documentary attempting to examine the border between the West Bank and Israel proper. The Thin Green Line, you can find the trailer on goldblum.tv.
Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Goldblum, an author, a photographer, and a filmmaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, while I was reading the profile of our next speaker, it's very interesting knowing that I believe this is a story about herself, if I'm not mistaken. So she likes to be called Moo by her friends, right? And our next speaker, together with her fiance, they just got recently engaged. Congratulations. So Napasorn is originally from Thailand and came to the US in 1996, and over the past 24 years, she has owned and operated several businesses in the Orlando area, including Bikram Yoga, a Namaste Cafe near SeaWorld, and the Napasorn Thai in downtown Orlando. The book follows her story from Thailand to the United States and from Thai Buddhism to Christianity. It provides an overview of Thai culture and religion, details her journey to the U.S. to escape a broken heart, establishing several businesses with the goal of bringing her family to the U.S. To tell us more about her story, from religious to relationship, let's hear it from Napasorn Wutita Narut. A round of applause.
Heart is not broken anymore. Hi everyone, good afternoon. How is everyone doing today? So thank you so much for being here with me and listening. So my name is Nabasorn Muti Thanarat. So I go by Moo. Moo is my nickname. So MOO. So you can call me Moo. So this is my first book. Uh, I never thought about writing a book before. Uh, so inspired by Jesus. So this book is telling about myself. So from Buddhism to believe in the one true God. So I came here. Thank you. So I came here at the age 20 years old, and with a broken heart, and try to bring the whole family come over here because Thailand. That Thailand have a lot of gods, like mini gods, like small gods. And let me brief a little bit. So my parent is from China, so I'm not really Thai. So I'm like confusing when I were young. So my mom and dad from China, and in my house have like Chinese gods, so many gods. And then she put me in the Catholic school. And then across the street from my house is a Thai temple. So I'm like, okay, Thai, Chinese, and I saw Jesus hang on the cross. So I thought that he is just another God, just a small G God. So nobody really tell me who is really Jesus. So when he came over here, but my mom put one word, when they were young. So she said, because I asked her that, why so many gods, mom? Because I cannot remember all those God names. And she said, just call only one God because one God up there in heaven that hear your heart anyway. So and I'm just like, okay, she put that seed in me, but we not really know that one God's name. So when I came over here, building my life, and I just asking that one God that, okay, God, that hear my heart. So you are the one that going to bring the whole family for me because I came here with $300, no English, nobody, no nothing. Like just go with the flow. With one of my friends just like introduced me to his girlfriend to pick me up at the airport. And I don't know her. I don't know anybody else. Like I just came alone, but with the one God that know me. So and I'm just like, okay, God. So if you are the one true God that my mom said, then you do it. So it took me 17 years. I had 5 Thai restaurants and 2 yoga studios and many more business. And I brought 15 people in 17 years. And after I brought my last person, my brother, then Jesus showed up. So I got introduced by one of my friends that they want me to meet one person that came from Seattle. They want to approach me the business because they thought that when I do business, I do all the way. So I meet him and I just like, who is this guy? Draw me to ask him a question, but I don't know, why this would come out of me. So I asked him that, are you Buddhist or are you Christian? I have no idea why I asked him that. So and he told me that he just born again only 8 months ago. And I'm like, how you born again? You're already born. How you born again? Like, and he just said that he's just on and on with the scripture. He's just like, you see me, you see the Father, but I have no idea. And then he told me that I'm a Christian, and it's just asking that, what does Christian mean? And he said, Christian mean believe in Jesus. Jesus is the one true God. There's only one God. And I'm like, when I hear that word, that one God, and it was just like bringing me back to what mom said, that one God up there in heaven. And I'm just like, wow, I can know him on this earth. And then he said, yeah, you just ask him that whatever you want, whatever you want. You just ask him and then he will hear you and he will answer you. And I just asked him like, are you really God, Jesus? Are you really, really God? So one of the chapters is said Jesus and me. So I asked him only one question for 5 months, and then he took me to vision. He took me uh, to the experience that I never had before. So I have like a out of experience, like out of body experience that I meet him in heaven. Like he took me on his farm, and then when he came back, I just received him on my bed. So I just want to tell people that he's real, and Thailand, I would like to see that they get set free. So my book, I have a purpose that I would love to do ministry. So the purpose of the book to reach out the lost, the Thailand people. So if you would like to support me, so please check at my website because I get like 100% that I can do more for Thailand people. But you can also get at the Amazon Barnes and Noble. So my website is fatherbusinesspublishing.com. So I'm about to do father business. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Do you have questions for Moo about her book From Religious to Relationship? All right, thank you so much. A round of applause once again to Natasha. Thank you so much. Our next author, before our next author speaks again, Reader's Magnet is live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can search Reader's Magnet now. You can share it on your profile so the rest of your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube can watch you um, everywhere and anywhere in the world. Next author or next speaker is born in Mexico and raised in McFarland, California. And her community became more widely known after Disney produced the movie McFarland USA about our cross-country team. But while she was growing up, it wasn't even in the map. In the early 1980s, they organized and fought as a community against cancer cluster that plagued their community. Her book is a personal recovery story with her personal insights. Having mental illness is not something that she's proud of, but she has worked hard to no longer feel ashamed. She has a huge fear that those who read her book will think that she too um, mentally ill to be able to help others. There's a warning. This book is not about all her accomplishments. However, she hopes that those with serious mental illness can read this book and be inspired to not give up. To talk about Natalia Salinas, her story herself, let's hear it from Natalia. Round of applause.
I'm so nervous, so I'll try to have my voice not be so shaky as I read. I'm just going to read a little bit and then talk to you guys just a little bit. But just to introduce also, I'm a successful psychotherapist, so as I read, this isn't a book about all of my strengths and things that I've accomplished, but I hope to, through this, help destigmatize mental illness. So by the time I started high school, I remember feeling alone. I had left all my younger friends, including my best friend and sister, behind. I continued to be insecure and when sober, and soon discovered self-harm as a way to feel better. I started to cut on my wrist with razor blades a few times per week to alleviate my discomfort. I tried to hide my cuts by wearing a watch or long-sleeve shirts, but sometimes my cuts would unintentionally start to bleed, and I would stain my clothes. I assumed that these were noticeable. However, no one talked to me about my actions. Sometimes the cuts were more obvious than others. However, everyone pretended to not notice, even my mother. I recall one day another student tried to tell a teacher about my cuts. I grabbed my wrist and attempted to show. He grabbed my wrist and attempted to show the teacher, who surprised and embarrassed me. I gave him an angry look, and he dropped my arm. The teacher simply ignored him, and nobody else seemed interested in what he said. However, neither the drinking nor the cutting would resolve my problems, and I couldn't figure it out. I felt like I had to drink to be what was perceived as fun and likable. However, I was getting to the point where I wasn't comfortable with others unless I was drinking. Plus, as I previously mentioned, I had many requirements as to what demonstrated that I was loved. The relationship with my girlfriend continued despite many problems. Then one day, after attending her grandmother's funeral, the family gathered afterwards. I drank as usual and kissed a guy as usual, but this time my girlfriend was angry about it, and she started to ignore me. I couldn't stand being ignored and left her home. When I got home, I telephoned her, but she refused to come on the phone. When she finally got on the phone, I threatened to kill myself if she did not talk to me. She burst out laughing and hung up. I asked my mother for permission to leave. She said she overheard my conversation and forbade me from leaving the house. Without a second thought about it, about what it meant that my mother had listened in on my conversation. I went to my room and snuck out the window. I was able to get a ride to the local walking bridge overlooking the train tracks. The bridge was enclosed by a gate, but it had several holes. I climbed out through one of them and sat on the ledge. I knew I had to hurry or my nerves would fade. Just then, my neighbor, who was walking home from school, looking confused, he asked me what I was doing. I asked, "You dare me to jump?" He said, "No." I walked away with his friend. As I continued as he continued down the bridge, I kept my eyes on him. He and his friend started to yell towards me, but I could not make out what they were saying. I somehow assumed they were daring me to jump. In reality, he later told me he was telling me to stop and to not do it. For weeks prior to this, I had contemplated jumping from this bridge. I had many times crawled outside the gate to sit on the ledge. I would look down, contemplating and wondering if I would die if I jumped. I would force myself to look down to get over my fear of jumping. I had been waiting for a triggering event to actually do it. I knew it was time and that I needed to hurry before I changed my mind. At first, I dangled my feet down as I held onto the ledge. I considered climbing back up, but decided it was too late. I yelled toward my neighbor to call 911. Their screaming became louder, but I could not make out their words. I felt completely numb and let go. So this was my second suicide attempt and one of many that followed. And despite all this, it took me many more years to get the help that I needed. And I do hope that with my book, I hope to inspire just openness because nobody would talk to me about what was going on. They would see my wrists and the scars and the bleeding, and nobody would approach me about it, not teachers, not my parents. And I'm a psychotherapist now, and I belong to NAMI, the National Association for Mentally Ill, and I give talks to them. And in the recovery community for 12 Step, for Alcoholics Anonymous, there's a practice that they have that they share their story, their recovery story. And I have a recovery story. This was not the highlight of my life or the best of me, right? But in sharing your recovery story, it was very healing for me to write this book. Initially, I thought, okay, I'm going to write this book in order to help people with mental illness. And I hope that it does. But it was a healing experience for me. And I encourage everyone with severe mental illness or not severe, just write your story. Talk about the difficulties that you've had and your accomplishments. I accomplished so much out of my difficulties, and I learned coping skills and so much more. And I share this with people, and I hope my wish is that with people with mental illness, someday we'll have the type of support that's there for people in AA. They have groups available to them 24/7. We don't have that. And part of that is that stigma and shame. And I hope that someday we will overcome all that and be able to be there for each other. Thank you.
I have a question. First, I want to say thanks so much for bringing awareness into this because I have a similar story. But my question is, from you going from the thought to actually doing the action of to get yourself to commit suicide and where you are now, what do you tell people who have those thoughts so that you prevent them to actually do the action?
Get help. You cannot do your best thinking during those times, and you have to get help outside of you. My parents, whether it be culturally or otherwise, I mean, nobody is that proud of having mental illness, and people. I don't think there's any family, no matter what culture, is like bragging about their child with mental illness. So being able to, if your parents aren't willing to do that, just anybody. I mean, there was a lot of people that came in contact with me. Like I said, my community became famous as McFarland USA, that movie. but no, we all knew each other. Everybody knew that I did that. That I jumped off the darn bridge, and still after that, nobody would approach me and be like, what's wrong? How can I help?
Thank you.
The book is available right around the corner here, and if you scan there's a little QR code, right? And you scan that, and I'm willing to send you a free book if you just get pay for shipping. So I'll do a discount code and send it to you. I did not bring extra copies, but I'm so willing to send it to you.
I just wanted to ask a question. Did you see in this dilemma that you were in, how when it was generated, perpetuated, that ultimately it may be an intense desire on the part of the patient to draw attention as to what she can do or he can do. And they get trapped into that, like this, look what I can do, look what I can do. The only thing is, in here, there is a certain degree of tragedy and pathos or childhood memories. You are basically saying, I'm punishing myself just to let you know what I want.
So you were talking about me trying to get attention by doing all these things. Yeah, really, the only attention I was seeking was my mother's.
Whichever.
And she had this belief that if she gave me attention or I saw her cry over any of my difficulties, that somehow she was giving me this positive reinforcement for doing more of that. And so she was very stoic about it. She never let me see her cry. And I've asked her about this since. I had a belief that she did not love me. I've discovered now that she loved me all along and was trying to prove to me that she really did love me. But at that time, I didn't know how to get that from her. So I was punishing her.
Yeah, it's a projection of punishment. I'll do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natalia. Round of applause once again. Thank you, thank you. Again, you can scan the QR code of Natalia's book right on booth 4 Leah, so we can have it scanned. As for Natalia is going to give us a discounted book. All you have to do is to take care of the shipping cost. The next author that we have here is an educator, trainer, and a coach for most of his career, which spans 20 plus years. In his early years, it was an escalation and application engineer. Prepared him technically, so his networking, data center, and cloud storage architecture classes and seminars are filled with leading-edge technology concepts and trends. His book, Bringing Down Sales Barriers and Challenges, is an examination of today's sales landscape. The book offers proven for prospecting, qualifying, and closing sales. I'm going to be hooked with this book myself. Let's hear it from the author of Bringing Down Sales Barriers and Challenges, Mr. Ramin Elahi. A round of applause, please.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it. Thank you, folks. Hi, my name is Ramin Elahi. I'm an adjunct with the UC Santa Cruz in Silicon Valley, and this is my book. I'm not going to bore you with the long title, but this is a book in sales and marketing for pretty much everyone that wants to sell a bubble gum to a Boeing aircraft. So this is a book that goes well with the classical textbooks, sales and marketing textbooks taught at the colleges. And instead of going through a lot of the theories and the theory of operations, it just talks about all the best practices from the well-known sales and marketing experts, veterans. And this is what I try to capture. 25 plus years of experience selling anything of the products, services to the public, to many folks. As we all know, selling is a process. And pretty much you need to have a product or a service to sell. And we all know that buying is something emotional. So in order for somebody to buy something, they have to have an emotional needs in order to buy it. And on the other hand, the selling is a process that you have to go through it. And this book provides you that roadmap how to find a customer all the way to close a deal. Uh, Two important chapters in this book is presentation, when how to what are the best practices to get in front of the customer and sell and offer your services, and how to close a deal by negotiation. Nobody's going to pay the full price. How are you going to convince them? So these are the couple of the excerpts from this book. Again, thanks to Readers Magnet, thanks to you, and hope everybody would enjoy this book. And I'll go ahead and be available for signing engagement. James, thank you so much. Thank you for any questions.
A round of applause to women. Do you guys have any questions? What do you think? I'm a salesperson myself, and this is the question I always ask anybody, especially who's really good in networking and in selling, from bubblegum to Boeing. That's what you said. But what do you think is the most challenging or the most difficult thing to face as a salesperson?
Yeah, in this book, I talk about the 7 phases of selling something. And from finding a customer or prospecting all the way to closing a deal. Each one of those phases has its own challenges. You have once you find a prospect, you need to be able to qualify whether that person is a potential customer. Everybody wants to buy something. Well, do they have the budget? Do they have the money to do it? Do they have a desire to do it? Or is just people are kicking the tire, asking questions? So each one of those phases have its own challenges, and that's what this book goes into specific of those challenges. That what would be the best way to bring the deal to the close. And I would definitely invite you before you spend money on buying it. There is a teaser on YouTube. Just go ahead and watch it, and if really satisfy your curiosity, go ahead and read it. Get the book. The book is available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and on my publisher, Obscure Press. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Let's give it up. Thank you so much, and let's give it up for Ramin, the author of the book, Bringing Down Sales Barriers and Challenges. Congratulations and thank you. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Ask you, I will tell you, the techniques for selling goods or manufactured goods or candy boxes. But there's a lot of selling of ideas of my religion versus yours, mine is better, yours is worse, you're going to be left here, I'm going to go to heaven. That's one. The second is politics. Do it my way and you'll become Trump or you will become this. So tell me, what is the scope of the guidance that you're providing there?
Yeah,
Does it touch these things too?
Yeah, good point. So basically, you touch upon on many things, from microeconomics to macroeconomics, as far as the politics, as far as the environment. Well, some of those are beyond the control of any seller. What the seller, however, can manage and be in control would be having his or her own differentiation. Yeah, there are a lot of products out there, and yours may be the only blue ocean that nobody has it as a niche. Well, everybody's going to come after it. You don't have to do a whole lot of it convincing. But if you are selling just another mousetrap, there are thousands of it. How is yours is better? So that is your differentiation and how well you can address the needs of your customers. So that is the basic answers. Yeah, there are a lot of challenges, and not everybody has a one unique thing that everybody wants.
But the general idea of how to persuade.
Exactly. Yeah.
How to persuade. We all have great desires.
Right.
I found in my theme of the book was that we look for love, we look for money, we look for God's approval. Within, at the end of the life, you said, geez, I did my best. I didn't get these. What did I do wrong?
Yeah. So just probably I can just send you to chapter 6, the presentation, and then probably chapter 7 for negotiation. Yeah, a lot of stuff to unpack, and again, hopefully some of those best practices are all here. But I would definitely be talking to you more about it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Ramin, where can we find you in your books, by the way? Do you have a
On Amazon
website?
and Barnes and Noble, and on the my publisher Oxford Press.
Right, thank you so much. Let's give it up for Ramin.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Again, Readers Magnet is live right now in YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You can log on and search Readers Magnet. You can share it to your profile so your friends can watch all of our authors speaking about their book anywhere in the world. Again, let's give it up for Ramin. This time, our next author has a very interesting story about the book Little Ricky. And to this day, I don't know if Ricky is him or probably someone else who's going to tell us the story about it. So Ricardo and Dorothy are a young couple that lives in an irresponsible life but are happy. Their happiness, however, is soon shattered when Ricky appears in their life. Ricky doesn't filter his comments, causing one incident after another in both families. And our author is born in Gitmo, Cuba in 1957. He is a retired law enforcement officer who uses his experiences of dealing with the good, the bad, and the ugly to create stories that are not far different from real life. To tell us more about the Little Ricky and the inspiration about writing this book, let's hear it from the author himself, Luis Zainzi. A round of applause.
Thank you very much. You basically said everything. Some people that they know me and tell me I never thought you would write this. Neither do I. You know, I just started as just a joke, and it's fascinating. I really enjoy it. Basically, Little Ricky is it's a story of this kid, very intelligent, super smart, he's a genius, but he doesn't filter his comments. He tells the way he is, and this is a conflict between two families from different backgrounds. And this book, as I wrote it, actually taught me a lot of things. Because when I write, I enjoy it. My wife is right here, my daughter, she enjoys seeing me writing because I laughed. And it's like I told her, listen, it's like you're going in a Twilight Zone and you have a picture moving in front of you and you're just recording what you see. And I did enjoy writing this book. And basically, this book taught me a lot. Because this book, two families from different backgrounds, and actually they hate each other, basically. And why? Because they focus in their differences, you know? And when you look at society in a certain way, this is what happened. We make our life miserable because we start looking at how different we are. We think we're better than another. So instead of enjoying what we have, we create this atmosphere, negative atmosphere, until really a catastrophe strikes. Then we stop thinking our difference and we look at our similarities and they help each other. So it's a shame that something like that has to happen for us to realize that we can have a better life and live, as friends and brothers and sisters. So this Little Ricky really made me laugh, and he goes to the end, and where he actually, with all his craziness, get those families together, and how this happened through an event, a disaster, but actually that's what put everybody together and bring a happy end to the story.
I'm looking at it from a psychological perspective, which is this. When you put two people together, the guy who may or the guy or the girl who may have the advantage of social or financial time over that, he always wants to maintain the difference because it goes in a plus manner together. The guy who is slightly below him economically or some other thing, he tries for the inclusion of elevation of his personal if he is accepted by that. Do you think that that kind of a struggle follows there? And when both of them are destitute, then they're brothers.
Well, in this case, it doesn't happen there because the main characters, the uh, the male and the female, are really both responsible. Both that they don't care about anything but their own happiness. You know?
How do they define their happiness?
Well, happiness defined according to what makes you happy. You know, it's not the money you have, it's not where you want to go, it's what makes you happy. So they have very little, but they actually think that happiness is not how much you have, how much you need. You know?
So there are two motivating factors: love and slight wisdom, and a slight experience.
That's right. But their family looks different. Their family actually, his family raised her for him to be with dad and the other way. You know. But little Ricky gets in the middle out of nowhere because they didn't actually know that little Ricky existed. And little Ricky is the brother of Wild Night that the guy had a long time before, 9 years before. And all of a sudden, Ricky shows in their life and destroy that happiness. But at the same time, with the destruction of the happiness, it brings responsibility to the parents, you know. And well, she is not the actual mother, but in that case, she becomes the mother at the end, even though she hates it at the beginning.
Is she the real mother?
No, she's not. No. Okay. The father is the real father, but he didn't know that either. So that's the story of Little Ricky. And the other book is The Saint of the Hill. It's actually a story that came out from the island of Ischia. I went to the island of Ischia in Italy and fell in love. And I had this dream about it. I told my wife, she listened to me to the end. Then I told her mother-in-law, she said, you should write it. She both of them didn't criticize me and said, well, maybe I have something here. So I started writing and I don't know, it just came out to the whole book, 18 chapters. It's, to me, it was unreal.
Where can we find you and your book?
You can find the books in Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Walmart, everywhere. And now the third book is coming out, it's ReadersMagnet, which is called The People's Candidate, which is just an ordinary guy, no desire of politics, but get actually so abused with the system that ends it up running for the presidency and almost made it. He didn't get it due to an I'm not going to tell the end of the book, but it's another interesting story.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Zainzi.
Zainzi.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Guys.
Thank you so much. The author of the book, The Little Ricky, Louise Zainzi. Thank you. Our next author, she was here earlier today and she was so vivacious. She was talking about the inspiration of her writing this book. She has had 3 professional careers, an accountant, a registered nurse preceptor, and senior clinical research associate. What's very interesting about her, she's been working with a foundation called Sandarina.
Actually, it's my foundation, and I'll talk about it.
Oh, awesome. She's going to be talking about it. Again, let's hear it from the author of the book, Evolving Through the Process. Let's hear it from Irene Irreborn.
Thank you. So, I'm going to turn my back so you can see what is written on my back. Okay.
Unlock your voice, inspire your world.
Exactly. So I want to first of all thank all my co-authors here. Writing a book is not an easy thing. it takes a lot of time and dedication. And for everyone who's published a book, I say well done and I say thank you. One thing I know is that the greatest gift you can give the world is your own personal experiences. We learn from others, and that is what I try to talk about in my book. My book, Evolving Through the Process, it's a book with 96 short stories. Every story is complete with a quote and an affirmation. It's not a religious book. It's just about my experiences that I hope will inspire others as they reflect on what I write about. I'm going to read one of my short stories here to get a sense of how my book is written. So, number 32, it says, you become chosen when you choose yourself. I remember watching the famous TV series Grey's Anatomy. There was a scene between Meredith, Ellen Popon, and McDreamy, Patrick Dempsey, where Meredith wanted McDreamy to make the relationship exclusive. Meredith tearfully verbalized, choose me, pick me. When she wanted McDreamy to pick her as his partner, we feel pure joy when we know someone has chosen us. However, not being chosen may sometimes lead to insecurity as we think we did not meet expectations. We may internalize this to a point where we become withdrawn or feel suppressed, eventually leading to depression. As children, we played games where the team leader had to choose team players. Many of us went through the heart pounding moment where we were concerned about not being selected. Then we experienced joy and relief when we heard a name called out and we joined a team. Being chosen also applied to the workforce. While seeking a particular position with a company, we go through the process of interviews. When we're finally among the top three aspirants, we start having palpitations because we know the company is only hiring one candidate. We want to be chosen. Although we wish for others to choose us, in many of life's circumstances, we don't pick ourselves. In an experiment with different age groups, ranging from teenagers to older adults, people were asked three questions. The first question was to name five people they admire. The second question was to name five people they would love to show kindness to. And the third was to name five people they consider significant. The popular answers were celebrities, world leaders, church ministers, orphans, and the physically disabled individuals. No one mentioned their own name. The truth about being chosen starts with the individual. Once you start picking ourselves, we have already won. We choose ourselves when we give ourselves the same respect, treatment, and considerations we give anyone we consider important. We become essential to ourselves. Once you start choosing yourself, your validation is eminent and it flows from within. Affirmation: I choose myself first. IreneWatts.com. You're going to find out that many people feel it's selfish to pick themselves. But my book tells you that picking yourself is the most selfless thing to do. How can you show love to others if you don't first show love to yourself? It starts with an individual. The fastest way to love yourself is through gratitude. So I have friends who ask me, I really want my gratitude. I'm not talking about material things. Oh, I have a new car, I have a new house. Gratitude comes from inside. You can be inspired and grateful for anything around you. I don't say focus on big things. Start with little things. Look outside, look at the sky, and just feel the gratitude of, wow, look at the sun, look at the blue skies. I can create that. So little pieces of gratitude is what leads up to love ourselves. Without self-love, we can't evolve. We're just going to stay stagnant. Self-love is what everyone needs to start with. With self-love, you can love the world. You can love the unlovable. My book is not about religion. It has no religious, continence to it. It's just about loving yourself in a perfectly imperfect world. The world we live is not perfect, neither are we. But we have to accept ourselves. We have to accept ourselves with all our flaws, all our consistencies. And I tell my younger, friends who I mentor, I tell them, when you tell yourself, you know what, I love me, and you keep saying that like a belief. A belief is simply a thought you continue to think. The more you think, oh, I love myself, without seeking validation from others or others' opinions, you're going to find yourself growing and evolving. My book is about evolving. This is my first publication that is being sold. I mentioned I do run a medical foundation in Africa, in Nigeria. I reside in Chicago, but I'm from Nigeria. My foundation was founded in 2018, and currently we have over 40 volunteers, medical, doctors, nurses, lawyers, and non-medical. We have a lot, dentists. So we go to very underprivileged communities, and I distribute my other books. So the other books I have written, which are not for sale, I give them out for free. I wrote books on vital signs, basic information that we take for granted in the US that others don't even know. I've had individuals who have never had their blood pressure checked. So we distribute those books to underprivileged communities. Then we go to public schools in Nigeria. Now, the schools we go to, we realize that teachers don't really teach about bullying, harassment, drug abuse because it's a taboo. They want to focus more, even suicide, we talk about suicide. They want to focus more on education. Oh, do your math, do your English. But my book, which is not for sale, but it's called a foundation book, it's all about bullying. Children get bullied to the form of want to commit suicide. Bullying, harassment by teachers, by parents, by peers. These are things that people assume kids should know. Kids don't know. No one knows what you don't tell them. No one knows what you don't teach them. So my book Evolve is about this world is going to continue with or without us. We have to evolve through our process of life. Every single day, there will be a challenge. No matter, I don't care what goes on. I don't care if you pray 24/7. It is not about religion. It's about evolving, about accepting yourself. So you're gonna find people saying, "Well, I'm a good Christian. I pray all the time. I go to church, but why do bad things happen to me?" It's a mindset. It's a mindset. And that mindset can be changed with gratitude. It sounds simple, but I'd like everyone to just think about it. When you find yourself thinking thoughts that don't serve you, switch and start thinking of things to be grateful for. Everyone has something to be grateful for. And that is how you evolve the process. And that's what my book is about. So it's, like I said, 96 short stories, 96. I already have my book two should be out in a couple of months, but every story in my book is a complete story about evolving. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Irene.
Oh, and my website, Irene's Words, with an E, ireneswords.com. And the book is on Amazon and on my website. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Irene. Wonderful story. Our next speaker is a storyteller for children, if I'm not mistaken. Her book is a children's book. She is an operatic mezzo-soprano activist and an author living with her husband and a lot of dogs, for sure. She has one puppy right now. So cute. Is this?
This is Iki.
This is Iki. All right, Iki is here with us to tell us more about the book, The Adventures of Iki and Kainoa. Let's hear it from the author, Nandani Sina Matas, or Nani. A round of applause, please.
Thank you so much. And I have Iki here, our heroine of the show. Here she is. The Adventures of Iki and Kainoa, the home concert, is the first in a series of books about adventures around my house. And it started because I'm an opera singer. During pandemic, there was no opera happening, and I started doing some concerts for LA Opera virtually. And behind me, my dog started getting into all kinds of insane adventures that nobody would believe me telling them. So I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to write it down. And lo and behold, here it is, a book, an adventure about how the dogs got into the rose garden, dug up a rose bush, and dragged it into the house during a concert. It's got a lot of teachable moments in it, educational. It's got a lot of music education in it, learning all kinds of stuff. And it's really nice to be able to tell these stories about the animals. It's my pleasure to be here. And like I said, this is the first in a series of books. We have a new one coming out, The Adventures of Iki and Kainoa and Christmas Tree Lane, and a few others coming up pretty soon. So we're really excited. Thank you so much to Readers Magnet for having us here today. And does anybody have any questions or anything?
Where's Kainoa?
Oh, Kainoa's at home. Kainoa, okay. When that book was written, Kainoa was about 20 pounds and much smaller, or around pea size. He's now about 100 pounds. So that's a big dog to bring in here. So Kainoa is at home. He's the one representing today. And the book is available on my website, mezzonani.com, or at Barnes & Nobles and Broman's, and also Amazon. Yeah, so The Adventures of Iki and Kainoa. And I'm going to drag Iki up here for 1 second. Iki, here.
Does Iki sing too?
She does. She enjoys it.
Nice
Thank
cat.
you.
Nice
She
cat.
enjoys it.
Yeah.
Here you go, kid. So this is Iki, right?
Iki. 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 Oh, yeah. I love that stripe. That looks
Right?
so artistic.
She's a
Yeah.
special little corgi. Thank you so much, Irene. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions or anything?
You said your book and your stuff can be found on your website.
On my website, Barnes & Noble, Broman's, and Amazon. My website is www.mezzonani.com. And if you want to hear me sing there, that's where I sing as well. I spent most of my life singing all over the world.
Can you give us a sample?
Oh, gosh. Do you want opera or do you want regular?
Opera!
There we go. That's a little opera. So that's what I normally do on stage. But now a children's author because of the dogs. So thank you all. Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nanny and Iki right here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nanny. I really am excited to actually go home now and watch your videos on your website so I can hear you more sing opera songs. This time, let's hear another storyteller, another children's book writer. And I'm very proud of this guy. We were together last year in Tribeca, New York, and then finally we're together here in California, his hometown, to talk to us about his book, When I Was Young. Our author is a Filipino-American who lives in Central California with his wife and 2 kids. And I believe the family and friends and all relatives are here today. He graduated from California State University, Northridge, with a BA in theater, and he also studied acting. Since becoming a father, he has been inspired to children's books for his own kids. Definitely, this guy's not just going to tell us about the inspiration of writing this book, but definitely is going to walk us through a book read, if I'm not mistaken, if you can. Ladies and gentlemen, the author of the book When I Was Young, Mr. Joe Estacio.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome, LA. I'm from LA. I'm from Pasadena. I grew up in Pasadena, and I went to THS. I am a bulldog. I'm also, like you see, I'm a dog fan as well. So, this is my book. It's called When I Was Young, and it was inspired by my kids. When during the pandemic, when we ran out of books, my kids wanted me to tell stories about my childhood, and I came up with this, and I wrote it. And this is about my childhood in Brooklyn, growing up when there was no internet, no cell phones, no computers, not even arcades. And it's about enjoying life outside, playing with our friends, and learning how to enjoy everything around us. Before, everything was different. Now it's just very different. Our world has changed so much since I was a child. So I'm going to read a little bit about it. So Here, Abigail. You hold that for me. Okay, this is my daughter Abigail, and this is one of the reasons why I wrote this book for her. It's for her and for a lot of kids. Okay. When I was young, by Joe Estancia. When I was young, we'd go outside and play with our friends. After school and on weekends. In the summer, after supper, before it got dark, we'd ride bikes and climb trees and jungle gyms and trees at the park. When I was young, we'd walk to school with classmates, peers, and neighbors, including the ones with tails and fur, as a treat for their love and favors. We'd hurry with bags of books in tow, walking hills high and low, under hot sun, which was not fun, through stormy, windy rain, at times in horrible pain. We had to go, bravely go, even on frigid morns of ice and snow. When I was young, we could walk in our neighborhoods alone and carefree. We could cross the streets together or by ourselves, safely. We'd look left, right, and left, and then do it all over again, backward, at school day's end. When I was young, we'd have so much fun shopping at the malls, feeling, looking at, and trying on clothes. We'd explore for hours and hours and play with toys. We'd check out with our huge eyes the food court and many candy stalls. At the supermarkets, we'd scatter and hunt for each of our favorites. We would fill Mom's cart to the brim with milk, juice, cereal, fruits, and all. The peanut butter was always too high. We'd race to catch the jars as they'd fall. The aisles were always so busy, as if we were stuck in traffic. We never had a thought to panic or be frightened or run, frantic, or be really quiet in a stall. When I was young, we'd walk to the laundromat with my three sisters and me, with my mom ahead by 2 or 3 feet. She pushed a cart full of clothes through the streets once a week and slowly, with a jar of Porter's detergent, softener, and bleach. In our hands, we'd help carry a container each. When I was young, we'd eat supper all together. At 6 o'clock on the dot, we'd help set the table while the food was hot. With plates, glasses, spoons, and fork. On Tuesdays, of course, was Mom's luscious adobo with sitaw and pork. Our favorite meal on Sundays was Dad's spaghetti and meatballs. I remember the pungent, hearty, and fragrant smell. We all knew it well. Oh my, how it magically calls. Afterward, we'd help with cleanup all together. We would wipe the table, wash all the dishes, and discard chicken bones and heads of fishes. We'd sweep and mop the floor from wall to door. Yes, the 4 of us kids helped, without a bother, even without the help of mother and father. When I was young, we'd buy ice cream on the street. We would scatter to find money without a beat. Each time we'd hear the truck coming, we would all cheer and start humming. Bellies in a flurry. Come on, hurry, hurry. No time to waste. I couldn't wait to taste my favorite brain-freezing treat. When I was young, we would attend Mass at St. Patrick's all together, on clear eves and in inclement weather. In our coats, warm and hearty, indeed, we dared not be tardy. We'd sing and kneel and pray, asking Him for blessings every day. We'd sit still and silent, whispering our prayers, and hearing cries of repent. When I was young, my dad taught us all to pray, to calm us down at the end of the day. In our room, we, with Mom by our bunk beds, would release all the fuss in our heads. With eyes closed and hands clasped tightly together, we would recite Our Father, 3 Hail Marys, and Glory Be. And then we would all sleep soundly and free.
Wow, thank you so much. So where can we find you and your book, Joe? And tell us more about your upcoming events. I heard you're going to San Francisco with us.
Yes. You can find my book on Amazon and at Barnes & Noble. I also have the cards. If you scan the cards, will take you directly to the site where you can buy the book. I'm also going to be at the Confab in San Francisco, where we talk about books and our stories and how we come to write our experiences to our books. And at the Confab I was at in Brooklyn in New York was awesome, which is why I couldn't chance to pass the fit to skip this one. This one in San Francisco, it's in my home state of all things, so I wanted to go. So I'm excited about it.
I bet you're gonna bring your Filipino community with you in San Francisco.
I believe yes. There's a following that's going to be there for me. So we'll see.
It's a 3-day event. It starts on Friday and ends on Sunday. So you guys can stay from Friday until Sunday. It's in San Francisco. That's the Reader's Magnet Book Podcast this next weekend.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, When I Was Young by Joe Estacio.
Thank you so much.
Our next author is scheduled to do his book signing in the next few minutes, and he's going to invite you guys to grab a copy of his books. Not just one. He released Werewolf on Madison Avenue and just recently released his second book, Visions of Destiny. Our next author has worked in publishing and advertising for over 40 years and has worked as an art director, graphic designer, illustrator, and a writer. To tell us not only about Werewolf in Madison Avenue, but also Visions of Destiny, let's hear it from Mr. Edward Lipinski. A round of applause, please.
Thank you.
Thank you for that generous applause. Yes, we want to see the product. It's not just me. First book, Werewolf on Madison Avenue. It asks the question, can a werewolf actually succeed in the world of advertising? And if you think about it, you'd probably say no, because after all, a werewolf is a monster. But when you think about the monsters, like Frankenstein, Dracula, and the Invisible Man, they're monsters 24/7. But a werewolf is only a monster one day in a month. So therefore, he can actually hold a daytime job. Well, the book starts off, here it is, with a satirical look at advertising. I have worked in advertising, and I made a few caricatures of some of the people I work with. We introduced a young man who wants to be an advertising executive or an advertising copywriter, and he has big dreams, but unfortunately he falls into the wrong hands. No, not the werewolf hands, but the hands of unscrupulous, or what do we say, tasteless advertisers. And so the fellow we're talking about, the protagonist, is Jeff Foxlove. He turns out he's very good at writing bad advertising. Well, he decides to take a vacation. When he takes a vacation, he falls into the clutches of, yes, the werewolf, the creature of the night, and he becomes one. Well, he doesn't realize it at the time, but he goes back to New York to be in advertising again. And when the night of the full moon comes, he turns into the vicious, predatory beast, the werewolf. It continues, and Jeff realizes he's trying to be honest. He wants to turn himself in, but his boss, the unscrupulous Damon Cudmore, says, no, he doesn't want to lose this ace copywriter. Is there a way he can have a werewolf and a copywriter at the same time? That's what we explore in the book. But meanwhile, Jeff Foxlove desperately wants to lift the curse of lycanthropy, that is werewolfism. He finds out by talking to a voodoo priestess that there may be a cure in the Yucatan jungle. So he goes back to the Yucatan jungle, but in order to do that, he's got to confront the werewolf again. And that's where the book comes. And I won't disclose the climax, I won't disclose the denouement, but it's worth reading. And I've gotten very good reviews on it. Now, oh, thank you. Where were you when I was younger? The other book I'm talking about now is Visions of Destiny. We've just published it. And you people are going to be the first ones to see it. As a matter of fact, this is the first time I've actually seen it in printed form. I think it's very good, but it's not as humorous as Werewolf. It deals with a fellow who can see into the future. But before you think about that, when you think about seeing into the future, it's not actually seeing broadly into the future, seeing what comes next, but just getting tiny glimpses of what may happen. Accidents here and there, a few incidents. And when he tells people about this, they don't believe him until after it happens. And then they look back on him like he's some sort of weirdo. Well, he may be. But then he meets a friend, a very good friend, and they wonder if there's some way that this fella, Henry Gainsbourg, the seer of the future, if there's some way he can make money with his uh, visions of the future, visions of destiny. And they start out to do that, but unfortunately, Henry has a vision that is very tragic. And we have a sad part in the book. After the sad part, he just discovers that maybe he can make money by predicting outcomes of the stock market. And it looks good for him. But then there's a glitch because he, in looking into the future and finding good stocks, is actually doing insider trading. And the SEC doesn't like that. So poor Henry can't win for losing. But again, the book has a very dramatic, climactic end, which I'm not going to reveal. And I think it's well worth reading. Two different books, two different styles, written by the same author. I hope you'll buy them. I hope you'll enjoy them. And I look forward to talking to you again. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Invite them, please. Invite them to your website.
Oh, yes. Okay. Now for the plug. I'll be sitting around over there in a few minutes, signing books if you'd like to buy them. I hope you will. Thank you. And I'll be glad to sign them for you. And I'd like to meet you, too.
Where can we find you? Like website?
Oh, okay. Yes. There's no inter-commercialism. My books are available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. I have a website out. And I'm also, you'll find me on YouTube, too. And I'm not literate enough to be able to tell you how to get on YouTube, but I think if you go on YouTube and search my name, I'll come up. Anyway, so I hope that I'll see you in person, but if not, maybe virtually online. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
A round of applause. A round of applause, please, for Edward Lipinski. Thank you so much. I know he just flew in from New York to just be with us today. Congratulations, Edward. Our next speaker is going to take us to Christmas time. His journey began in Seattle, where he and his 4 siblings were raised in a congregational church. And during graduate studies in theology, Dean joined the Catholic Church. He has served over the years in elementary and high school education, in the missions, in international projects for peace and reconciliation as a writer, and for 20 years as a Roman Catholic priest. He now teaches in Stockton, California, where his son Gabriel will be 10 by Christmas 2023. His book, delivered in Christmas 2021, is a 399-page golden edition of 2017's award-winning original anthology of historical drama, poetry, humor, art, wisdom, and spirituality. To tell us more about this book, let's hear it from the author himself, Dean McFalls. A round of applause.
Yes.
I've really enjoyed being here and listening to some of the stories of the people that write. And so thank you those who are here. I'll speak to people online too. Yes, my name is Dean. I grew up in a fractured world in the 1960s and 70s in Seattle, Washington. I saw Jimi Hendrix concert shortly before he died. Janis Joplin shortly before she died. I watched President Kennedy get assassinated on live TV when I was in the 3rd grade. And later on, Martin Luther King and Robert F. Kennedy. So the world in which I lived, including the Vietnam War, was a stressful one. Later on in my own life, I went through some severe depressions when I was younger. And out of all of this came a search for what is lasting and what really makes for a contribution to the world. What could I offer the world? I didn't really want to go to business like my dad did. So I went to look for missions. I worked in Europe. I eventually went to Mexico as a missionary and became a minister and then a priest. But let me read the beginning of this book. This book is an anthology. It's got 18 different episodes based on the Night Before Christmas poem. Each one talks about a different situation in the world. All of them deal with critical issues that face us, whether they're warfare, nuclear arms. The pandemic has 2 episodes in this book. Whether they are the war in Ukraine, which is coming out in my next edition, and sometimes it's just despair. I'll read you the beginning of the book. It says, "May the Savior delivered in Bethlehem's stable deliver us all, for our God is able." That's basically the theme of the whole book. It's all about deliverance.
It's all about turning the love and the beauty of Christmas into some message that will speak to the world today. Here's a theme, or the beginning of the poem in 1980. It says, "'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the north, one could hear sounds of cheering as Santa set forth from a comfortable cottage, the elves and his wife, for the ends of the earth and the trial of his life. The snow was light falling, and a gentle breeze blew, as into the whiteness the darkness withdrew. But in less than an hour, the weather grew worse, and the ice bit so hard that it made Santa curse. A blizzard began, and a bitter wind blew, as into the darkness the whiteness withdrew. But Santa, resolved, kept his eyes straight ahead, and coaxing his reindeer, he crouched in the sled. So, friends, there are 18 of these. Some are epic in length. The one about the pandemic is 40 pages with about 218 stanzas. And I write these because they are born in me every year around September, October. They begin to be born and they insist on being written. And so I really recommend this book. I think it's, I have never met or found a book that's quite like this. I've seen many poetry books that copy the pattern of The Night Before Christmas, but most of them are a little bit on the silly side. These go deep very quickly, especially the later ones. The last one I wrote, which will be in the next edition, which comes out in June, is about the war in Ukraine. And then after that, there's one called The Final Hour. It's about the end times. So the book will be about 425 pages. I highly recommend it. I think it's got something for kids from 9 to elderly people, including myself. I'm getting there myself. It's something for everyone to enjoy.
Good. You have questions?
Yeah.
Where can we find you and your book?
Okay, so my website is www.deanmcfalls.com, DEANMCFALLS.com. The book is also available in the major outlets like Barnes & Noble and Amazon, and it's from Ex Libris. You can also contact me if you're really interested. My Facebook is Dean McFalls. My name is Dean McFalls on Facebook. And my email address is booksbydean, BOOKSBYDEAN @gmail.com. I believe you won't be disappointed. I'm confident. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, Dean McFalls. A round of applause, please. Our next speaker is from a broken beginning to a victorious end, and he's experienced trust issues, health scares, and heartbreaks. His ego puffed up in so many ways because of his employment here as a boss until he was broken to submission, which humbled him. God kept him elevated ever since and began trusting him, and even though the bad times, he knows he'll be better in his hands. Let's hear it from the author of the book, I Didn't See That Coming, but He Did. Let's give it up for Steven Casado.
Thank you. So, coming 3,000 miles from New York by myself, I'm excited to be here. I'm grateful for everybody in attendance. We all have a story. My story is very, very different. See, the title, I didn't see that coming, but he did, gets people wondering what it is that I'm talking about. Well, growing up, I'm a twin. My twin sister was an actress, Sesame Street, 19 years. I kind of had this thing where, where's my attention? I was broken in a family, and I didn't know how to escape. I didn't know what to do. So, at some point, once I became 16, I said, I'm going to get out of my house. I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going to find management jobs and take it from there. Diabetes broke me down into submission. I didn't see that coming, but he did. I am legally blind. Nobody can tell, but I walk around not with a cane, I walk around with feet. Every single bad thing that happened to me had to happen in order for me to be as strong as I am today.
Yes.
So without faith, it is impossible to please God.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes.
And this book starts from my childhood until I was 24 and I was baptized. After that, I had obtained a job at the VA hospital, where that job is only for the legally blind. I'm the voice of the VA. I am the operator. God knew what he was doing. I didn't know his plan, but it's either go on what I think is going to be right or have faith that what he has lined up for me is correct. So I was really broken, and now I'm here today. I walk by faith, not by sight. And I didn't see that coming, but he did. My dad was broken into submission. My dad was my worst enemy. And then we fast forward 21 years later since he gave up alcoholism and drugs, and now my dad is my best friend. So if my heavenly father can do such a miracle to change my earthly father, I said to myself, man, there's something about that guy I need to know. And I took it on faith and faith alone. I'm alive, not because of anything that I did, but because I'm supposed to be here today, giving this story. I have a soft cover and a hardcover copy. There's only 10 hardcover copies in existence, so get those while you can. You can find me on Facebook, Stephen G. Casado, Casado. You can find me on Instagram, LILROCK316. Lil Rock is the nickname because when I was in high school, I was sold down the Pebble. I used to look like The Rock, and it was funny. Now we fast forward, and guess what? If he's the big rock, it only makes logical sense that I am Little Rock. So I'm here in hopes that somebody can pick up something that I throw down in my book, because you can't unring a doorbell. Once you hear something, I hope that it stands out, and I hope you can gravitate towards my book and get something out of it. If it's based on work ethics, relationships, diabetes, whatever it may be. Maybe it's something that you're going through personally.
Me too.
I don't know. But maybe you can lend a hand and give the help to somebody else simply by what it is that God had lined up for my story. So I thank you for your time. And does anybody have any questions for me?
Any questions for Stephen?
Great story.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So you see with your heart?
I definitely do. So right now, as I close my left eye, what I'm seeing out of my right eye is exactly what I see in my left. It's pure black. I see absolutely nothing right now. So it took a long time for me to be humbled to the point where I am now. But faith is the only reason why I am where I am, and I continue to hold on to it. I hold on to this dearly. My veterans at the VA love it, and I'm like a walking billboard. You know, I do what I can, and God is in control.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Stephen Casado, the author of the book. I didn't see it coming, but he did. Congratulations. Again, a round of applause for Stephen, please. Our next speaker is no stranger to Reader's Magnet because he's had his book signing successful earlier. And he'll be back tomorrow as well for his interview. But today he's going to be talking to us about his book, Donkey's Adventures. He has won a BA Chemistry, MA Chemistry, and PhD in Fuel Science. And in 1984, he retired as an associate professor of fuel science after advising the scholarly research of 5 PhD and 7 master's graduates. His book is an anthology of all life-hearted escapades with humor, mysteries, oddities, and surprise endings on family, friends, foes, and fails, each with a calm and a wondering, hopeful that reason, peace, and love will prevail. Let's hear it from the author, Donkey's Adventures, James Ruther.
Thank you all. Thank you for that introduction. A few days after my wife passed away, after 37 years, I found a notebook in her desk that was a guide as how to get along. Is this working? How to get along after I'm gone. And as my heart was crushing at the time, I read the subtitle, and it was for a dummy. For 40 years, I could never get the last word in edgewise. In that book, she shared some very personal interactions that we had in her struggles with a dreaded disease, which I will not name, but I think we know what we're talking about. And in there, she asked me to write stories. So I used to call her "She Who Must Be Obeyed," and so I had to obey her. So I started out. The first chapter in this book is the afterlife love story from Teresa Rubin. So I have a co-author. I then decided to write a return story, a love letter back to her. That's buried deep into the book. It's called Inspirational Inferno. It's subtitled "Why Candles Are Lit," and I'll be able to share some of that with you. As you mentioned, it's about families and friends, and friends and foes, humor, setbacks, the twisty turns in life that we all have. And as I'm listening to all, we've all had setbacks. But my job for 40 years was to render safe and take apart and demilitarize weapons of mass destruction. So I would like to keep people alive. I do not believe in war. I want to keep people alive. But I was trained to recover from setbacks, because if you have a setback when you're handling explosives, things can be kind of contagious. So I'm used to recovery. So this was a story for me to share my life experiences about never giving up and keeping going forward. And it's really about to be humble with your existence, with hope, resolve, and to smile and to share your personal tales. You don't know how much it's meaning to me to listen to all of you so far. I mean, I came here and I'm doing this, but I'm getting much more than I'm ever going to be giving. I hope that you go away. I hope that you go away with a rejuvenated belief that hope, joy, and war in your hearts and minds, and that we're all in this world together. For those who are wondering, and I know you are, I hope you wonder 25 times when you read my book, because each story begins with a short poem, which surprising to me, won a poetry award at the Ohioana Book Festival 3 years ago. And I just wanted to share some love and kindness, and there's some zaniness and some craziness and some silliness in it. There's a mixture, it's a hybrid. Are any of you wondering what gunky is? What is gunky? Gunky was the childhood nickname that was given to me by my late mother for reasons unknown. Here's Gunky.
Oh. Okay. Just like you.
It's just like me, except it doesn't have a goatee. So there's several stories in here. One of them, one of my favorite, is the Under Your Soul. If you're wondering what the cover is, these are rocks with holes in them that are naturally made. And they're called lucky stones. And if you hold them up, you can see through them. And if you read the lore, they're portals to the other world, your world. And you can look through that and see whatever you want. My message is that you see love, peace, kindness, and hope. And it's a decision on your part. If you look out there, it gives you a different perspective. It certainly did for me. So when you sign my book, I'm going to let you become a member of my gang of Lucky Stones. I'm going to share with everyone a lucky stone that I've collected off the planet in my many travels. That includes the Atlantic Pacific Oceans, the Gulf of Mexico, the Great Lakes, England, Scotland, Wales, France, Switzerland, and yes, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, all the nice places where I went. People said he must be sad. He's walking with his head down. No, I'm looking for lucky stones. And if you're wondering how you find a lucky stone, when you look at it, there's a hole on one side. and you pick it up and you flip it over, and there's a hole on the other. You go, well, look at that. Amazing. And in ending, I'm going to be giving away my books tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. All proceeds to the book go to the Teresa Ruther Nursing Scholarship. You can go directly to the scholarship program. And this is to support hospice nurses who are in debt from their education. I've endowed a scholarship in her name, and I've given out awards over the years, and it's really to pay back debts. Because as you'll find out, my late wife was a hospice nurse, and I was one of her cases during her long struggle with Ledger's disease.
Wow.
So, in closing, thank you for your attention. And one thing I noticed when I came here, my daughter lives in Los Angeles, so I'm going to see her tonight. She couldn't make it here because she's working as a nurse in the hospital. You are depraved in California because you don't really have seasons. Right? In Ohio, we have summer, spring, winter, and fall. And the trees will change their colors and character. I wrote a set of poems for each season, and I'd like to share with you my favorite. If you look, some of the trees and now have no leaves on them at all. I mean, they're just branches. And I maintain that no one has been able to capture it in photograph or in painting. So here's what I wrote flying back from the Middle East in a cargo plane for several hours. It's a poem called Masterpiece Rainbow, the colors brown and singular intricacy up and down, no matter the brightness of day or night. My heart races to see silhouettes light. Reason, peace, and love will prevail. Thank you.
Jim Ruther, everybody. Jeff Peace Adventure. Do you have any questions for Jim?
Yeah.
No, where can we? Yes, go ahead.
I'm still back with your defusing bombs, or working with dangerous, what do you call it? Weapons of mass destruction. You look like you're intact. Do you have any body parts that are bionic?
New ankle. I have a new ankle. I have a new knee. A piece of my back missing. I have no sensation or feeling in this leg. That's why I stumble all the time. It's not because I'm just old. I'm 73. I probably had some concussions, but I think I'm okay now. And the only severe thing I had is I had a macular hole in my left eye. And it was repaired by taking the skin off the retina and putting it over the hole and inflating my eyeball with laughing gas. And I had to be face down for 8 weeks. The question was, do you want to be able to see? If I had that hole right now, I would look at all of you directly, and you would all be in the witness protection program, which is a black dot. So now I can see. I just had surgery 2 weeks ago to clean up some scar tissue. Things are a little bit straightforward, but structure like these lines, if I look at them, it's got the macular thing, they're wavy. But I'm fine. I'm here. I'm upright with a pulse. I'm blessed.
So what kept you doing that when the danger to you could be fatal easily?
Because I care. I came out of the Vietnam War. I do not like triangle flags or body bags. I'm not a proponent of war. But if someone wants to volunteer for what they believe in, and their parents are going to let them go, I want to protect our people. I'm good at it. If I were a cat, I will have 2 of my 9 lives left. One of them will be for natural causes, and one of them will be T-boned by someone distracted driving on their phone in an intersection. I just care. I'm good at it. My team is good at it. There's 11 other of us. I want to acknowledge them. We don't have any mental health problems, violence problems, drug problems. We don't drink. I didn't drink for years because they would give us the random whiz quiz at 4 o'clock on Thursday, and if you had a trace level of alcohol and something bad happened, they would still get you. So now I'm a designated driver. I really don't care about it. I'm just good at it, and I can figure out problems, and I I now am still training people to do it because we have a need in Ukraine to clean up that mess that's on the ground. Any other questions?
So where can we find your books?
My books are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and several other platforms that translated into many languages. Some of them in the Middle East. I have a little marketing campaign going in there to read about it. There's no war stories in it. They're all light-hearted, personal stories. I'm on Twitter. I have almost 4,000 followers on Twitter. And I have a website. It's Jim Ruther at akagunky.com. And I'm blessed to be here.
Thank you so much, everyone. Let's give it up for Jim Ruther, the author of the book Junkies Adventures. Thank you, sir. Now, our next speaker is an educator, a nature lover, and an author. And with cultural curiosity and an appetite for adventure, he has found his way in the world promoting peace and security, conflict resolution, military professionalism, gender equality, social justice, and environmental protection. He is a California native, and he lives in Monterey, California with his wife and daughter. Now, his book, The Adventures of Maritime Domain Awareness Man, is a graphic novel about a young superhero in West Africa who has the power to know everything that is happening in the sea. Now I'm jealous. But the goal of the project is to spread awareness about the many challenges and opportunities facing the world's oceans. Definitely an environmental protection supporter. Let's hear it from the author himself, Nicholas Toom. A round of applause.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. My friend, can I ask you to take a photo?
Definitely.
All right. So thank you very much. My name is Nick Toom, and this is my first graphic novel, The Adventures of Maritime Domain Awareness Man. It really rolls off the tongue, right? The Adventures of Maritime Domain Awareness Man. So let me ask you, did you know that 70% of the planet is ocean? You probably did, right? Did you know that 80% of humankind lives within 100 miles of the ocean? Maybe. Did you know that 90% of global trade takes place on the oceans? Maybe so. But I'm sure you knew that 100% of humans live on land, right? We live on land. And as a result, we don't think about what's going on in the oceans very much. There's an issue of that they call sea blindness. We're blind to what is happening in the seas. And so the goal of this graphic novel is to help people think about what's going on in the oceans. The goal is to edutain people about ocean issues, ocean conservation, maritime security, things happening at sea. Educate them while also entertaining them, especially kids, so they don't even really know that they're being educated because they're having so much fun doing it. So this is not your grandfather's comic book, right? This is not Superman fighting Lex Luthor. This is a 21st century graphic novel. When you drink through a plastic straw one time and throw it away and that plastic straw ends up in the ocean, you're the villain. When you buy unsustainably caught seafood that's really cheap at the grocery store, you're the villain. But you can also be the hero. If your plastic trash doesn't end up in the ocean, if you don't buy illegally caught, unsustainably produced fish, you can be the hero. So that's what this graphic novel is all about, edutaining people about maritime issues. It takes place in West Africa. The main character is a young man, a boy named Kofi, whose father is a fisherman, and his catch just keeps getting worse and worse. And so the family is facing a lot of financial challenges, and Kofi is well aware of this. Everywhere he goes, there's a lot of issues about problems in the oceans, and he meets Mami Wata, who's an African spirit of the sea, who gives him this special superpower to always know when there's trouble at sea, to have complete maritime domain awareness, which he uses to save his father at the end of the story. So this is really the creation story of Maritime Domain Awareness Man. I've already finished issue number 2. It's not out yet, but it focuses much more on his friend Essie, who is the daughter of a naval officer in West Africa and is a very scientific and technologically oriented young woman. In issue 2, they build their partnership and really complete the creation story, complete the hero cycle, and number 3 will complete the story arc. Thank you so much, my friend, for showing that up there. Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to Letty Arts, which is a company in Ghana that did the art. So I scratched out a rough manuscript and then was like, gosh, what am I going to do with this? And I just did a Google search for comic book artists in Ghana, and these guys popped up. They mostly make video games, actually, but they said, sure, we can do graphic art for you. So they produced this, and it's really been great having them involved because there's little details like this is the standard school uniforms that children in Ghana wear. So when people from Ghana see this, they're like, how did you know? And it's like, well, my friends at Letty Arts. And Mami Wata is also a real African water spirit, and they really help bring her to life. So I hope that you will pick up a copy. It is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and also on my website, which is www.adventuresofmdam.com. That's Adventures of MDAM. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And I hope you enjoy it. Any questions from anyone?
Were you inspired? What inspired you to actually start?
So I was involved in a ocean project in West Africa, and I was working with people in Ghana, and we were trying to overcome this issue of sea blindness, and we were talking to people and meeting, and at some point I was like, we don't need like a policy paper or a book or a government website. We need a comic book that we can hand out to the average person on the street, and they can pick this up and realize these are important issues. So that's how I got inspired. Thank you.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nick. That's a very inspiring story. And I like the fact that you actually not just wrote the book for adults. You really want to inspire and educate the children and to get their attention. Children, like we know them, they like colors. They want to make it look more, adventurous, even if it's a book. So doing it that way, you're teaching the kids while they're enjoying as well. So congratulations and thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, edutainment.
Edutainment. Thank you so much, Nick. Our next author, speaker, has a very inspiring and interesting story as well. I believe he has mentioned in his profile that he has written a book before in 2013. But our author, Shivero Anansi Savage, is an author who self-published his first erotic story, poetry book called An Emotional Journey Through Love and Lust in 2013. And he has just finished his second book, Broken Mirror, A Journey of Self-Reflection. It is an experience life seen through the lives of individuals that we may encounter throughout our lifetime. The heartache we experience, the love we embrace, and the pain of loss that we endure is all part of the growth of our journey. To tell us more about Broken Mirror, A Journey of Self-Reflection, let's hear it from Shivero Anansi Savage. A round of applause.
I appreciate it. Shivero Anansi Savage, I go by Che. Okay. I did write a first book, erotica, but this is a totally different turn as far as where I wanted to go as far as writing books now. I was actually inspired by the death of my father in 2007. Every time I think about it, I try not to get emotional, come up here and talk about it. I did finish in 2019. I wanted to start something because I did want to write another one. It's mainly short story poetry, and I put together a story about another erotic story, but a lot of poetry, a lot of poems didn't match up with it. So my ex-girlfriend was telling me like 80% good and 50% horrible, and make it more uniform. So I thought about this, telling this story about how I found out my father passed away. And, you know, he was a pretty healthy guy as far as I knew. I knew he had high blood pressure, but he always took his medication. He was also schizophrenic. He never really took his medication for that because it made him feel really weak and everything. And every time he went to his episodes, he was real quiet and sometimes he would just lash out. And my first time experienced it, I was like 13 years old. And it was just really weird. I just wanted him to cook me some chicken. And he went off on me talking about, no, you could do some chickens. The oven's right there. I didn't know what I was doing, you know. So I was calling my uncle. He knew what was going on, so he came over here. And he just rescued me from the situation. And then I went back home. And then I moved in with him when I was like 16. For my mom, and then my mom got it too, and I was like with my dad. And so that whole time living out there, 16, 17, was a good experience for me. He was really into education, and I was pretty much like a C student. I had a whole summer. I wanted to go out and play in the summertime, but he had a whole chalkboard with little erasable markers and books on chemistry, physics, algebra, calculus. And I had to learn that in summer school with my dad as my teacher. It was pretty horrible. In hindsight, it worked out because actually in high school, from 11th to 12th grade, I didn't have to study at all because I knew everything that was going on. I pretty much just talked all the way in class because it was nothing for me to learn. So it actually worked out, even though I hated it during the time that it happened. All right. But I did want to read two excerpts from the book. Um, as far as the scene, as far as how I've heard that how it was when my aunt found him. He was on his couch in his apartment. Okay. A glass of wine sits on the coffee table while hot water is in the pan, no longer boiling on the stove. The lights are on in the bathroom with all the toiletries ready for use. Pacific is the atmosphere, very impassive in mood. Sounds of dripping water, a distant memory. Worried faces begin to dial a number. The phone just rings, leaving more reason to check out the scene. A woman arrives at the door, only to notice a car in a position that takes away any suspicions. Tranquil is the abode, soon to be a locality no longer referred to as home. The domicile appears to be clear due to the scarcity of activity and the inadequacy to answer the knocks from the porch. She asks the manager for an extra set of keys. He opens the entrance and takes a step inside, only to find a man undressed lying on a couch, motionless, breathless, and spiritless. The woman cannot go into to experience her brother's descent. This will bring forth feelings of nostalgia, but we all are comforted by the fact that finally he is in harmony with the soil of his roots. And this poem is just called Father. It's pretty much dedicated to my dad. Tears of a man flow so powerful, the emotion so deep it is hard to lose control. Rising above our own depression, an illusion is created, but we remain transparent. Memories of a time when you were alive keep life unbalanced, always trying to turn back the tide. Your voice never heard, the magnitude of change. What is to be expected when your own mortality is in question? We cannot fear the future or try to exist in the past. Surviving as a ghost will not last. A photo album with pictures shows me as a child in his arms with my father, smiling with pride. And I did also include the picture in the book with me as a child. I do appreciate Reader's Magnet reaching out to me to allow me to share my story. So any questions, comments, concerns?
Do you have family support?
One more time.
Do you have family support as you're going through all this?
Yeah, I do. Actually, a lot of my friends help me out. Especially anybody that lost a parent or lost anybody close to them. We always talk about it. Now that I lost somebody, if somebody lose one, they call me for advice. I had a friend I would call for advice. So, everybody we know has lost somebody pretty much. We all pretty just just talk to each other whenever we're feeling down and think about it. At times, man, you just break down. I lost my grandmother recently, so all this death stuff is pretty close right now. So, just talking about it made me sad.
Have you turned any of your poems into rap? No, you sound like you do a great rap.
No,
He's a poet.
He's a poet.
I haven't though. Maybe I'll think about that. Think about that. If I ever do what's the when you read like it's called
Spoken word,
um
poetry.
yeah.
You can do that.
I was thinking of when you buy the book and you can actually read it, but then read this audio book. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, an audio book form. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Go Warriors, go Warriors.
Perfect time to have a break. Yeah.
Play football with this dude.
Support.
So where can we find you on your books?
All right, I do have a website, loveananse.com. Also have an email, anansepoetry@gmail.com, ANANSE. I do have some business cards. If y'all want some, be able to check it out. It's easier if they can't spell it. You know what I mean? So I do understand that. All right. But yeah, obviously Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff.
All right, thank you so much. Let's give it up for Chivero Savage, the author of the book Broken Mirror. Thank you so much. Now, our next speaker is a faithful member of the Lancaster Baptist Church in California. She likes to serve and volunteer in various areas of church, served in a coffee shop and bookstore for West Coast Baptist College. Now, she has written 3 books that's with us. Servant's Heart from the Voice of a Volunteer, Encouraging a Friend with Our Trials, and A Widow's Cry, a helpful tool for widow ministries. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you the author of these books, Jamie Pulis Fry. A round of applause, please.
I'm going to talk about encouraging your friends with your trials. And the reason why I'm doing that is this is my favorite book and my first book that I wrote. This one is about an accident that had happened to me probably 10 years ago. Was not able to walk, was afraid I would never walk again. I was in a car accident, rolled down the side of the freeway. And so basically, I had to go home, live with mom and dad, and use a walker for a little bit for about 6 to 8 weeks. And there was one day in the middle of this trial that I was in that I decided I wanted to go make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. No one was home. My bedroom was on one side of the house and the kitchen was on the other side of the house. So that journey took about 2 hours to get there, for me, with all the walking and everything. So it took me, about an hour to get there, to make the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I guess I could read the story or you can read it yourself. But this is the main reason we all have trials that we go through. And sometimes we even had trials in the middle of our trials that we're going through. It was one of those things where I had to hang on one thing here, go to another table, go to another spot in the house to get down to this hallway, to that hallway, and finally get to the kitchen. And it took me a while to get there. And I didn't give up. And that's what it's all about, you guys. It's about never giving up, even through trial. Everything, even now that I still have trials. I probably even have more now than I used to have. But the whole thing is God gives us things for a reason to teach us something. Okay? He gives us these reasons to encourage people. I have been a widow for almost 30 years now. So this is to teach widows, as well as people that are in church, reaching out to a widow. Some things to say, some things not to say, things to do with them, to encourage them. Some people like to write books or write a note to people in the mail. Some like to call, some like to visit. So those are the different reasons for that. And this one is a servant's heart from the voice of a volunteer, which is the one that Reader's Magnet is promoting for me right now. Okay, and this one is about servers. We all need servers. We all need somebody that's out there that wants to do something for somebody else besides ourselves. And that's in different environments. I usually serve in the food area. Right now, where I am at church, they're stretching me and having me serve out and do deep leadership stuff and help other people serve. So there's a reason why I did these books, and that is to reach out to other people and make sure that people know that they're needed. We're needed to help people, to serve, to volunteer, to let people know that they're important. And you can serve somewhere at church, you can serve somewhere at a food kitchen, you can serve even at work and volunteer and go and do it without getting paid. You know, there's people do events for church, for Christmas, you know, or even for your work. You might go somewhere and help set up Christmas decorations just because your boss needed help and don't expect for anything in return. And that's why you volunteer and serve, to help others in need. So thank you for having me here today. I hope if you have any questions, let me know. But we're all here. We all write books, and we all have our reasons why we write them. My reason for writing my books is I volunteer in a coffee shop at a bookstore at my church. That place has been around for about 10 years, and it needs an overhaul. It needs a new espresso machine. It just needs a lot of help. So if you want to buy my books, please do, because my proceeds will go to them and help them with the remodeling. And that is going to take a lot of money, guys. So please, if you're interested, and I also have a fourth book that's coming out. It's called Family Memories with a Little Mystery in It. So that is coming out soon. And again, thank you for having me today. And please, please buy my books to encourage and help other people. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jeannie, where can we find you and your books?
Okay, you can find them in blurb.com. You can also find them in my website. This is Jamie's Bookshelf, as well as the domain for that is TWO4Avalon.com. And you can also soon find them in Reader's Magnet, which means they will be going through Amazon.com as well as Barnes & Noble. So, there we go. We got them all.
All right, a round of applause once again to Jamie Pullis-Fry, author of 3 amazing books. I like your book so much, especially A Widow's Cry, because a lot of widows right now can relate to it. Even my mom could have related to it. It's just that my mom just got married.
Well, you know what? You can still give her experiences out to people for being a widow.
Exactly.
Sure can. So
She's been a widow for 20 years.
I've been for 30.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Such an inspiring story.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Our next author, he calls himself a native Californian, and he was born in Taft, a small agricultural town near the center of the state. Equal and Alike is about a young man who leaves his father's farm to make his way venturing west in the mid-19th century. He gravitates to Independence, Missouri, a place where most wagon trains depart for California. Supported by a much other mentor, Joshua McBride is caught up on a path that exposes him to diverse cultures, ethnicities, and religions. To tell us more about Equal and Alike, the author of the book, J. Michael Kirkland. A round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The name Kirkland should ring a bell with you folks. If you shop at Costco, you're going to know the name well. That's their signature product, right? And I got to tell you, I must not be a member of their family. I've never received a dime of dividends from them in all these years. That's a joke, by the way, folks. Anyway, is it on? Up closer. Okay, so this day is the culmination of many decades of adventure. It started out sitting at my grandfather's knee, listening to stories about his father, my great-grandfather, who went from Virginia and ended up in California on a wagon train, and ultimately ended up in Arizona. I thought I wanted to be a history professor, and I would use that information for a good use, good cause. However, I ended up, as things happen, I ended up becoming a CPA. I worked with numbers, not with words. And so for many decades, I worked with numbers. And I put aside a great deal of the research that I'd done and the notes that I'd taken from my grandfather about my great-grandfather. But at one point, my uncle said, you know, can I take all your notes? I have a professional writer who wants to write a nonfiction book about Grandpa. I was absolutely devastated. I don't think I would have ever gotten around to the nonfiction book, but I knew at that point that I would never need to write one or deliver. So I was kind of devastated, and my lovely wife said, Mike, come on, you can do other things with it. And I said, well, what's that? And she said, how about a novel? And I went, oh my gosh, I can take all that data, I can make my person, my protagonist, you know, do anything I want him to do. It's good or bad. And so that's what I did. So I started writing the book at least 3 decades ago.
It's a magnum opus. If it's 3 decades.
Yeah, well, it's not a magnum opus in the sense of, you know, some of the writers that are out there, but I have a series going, so it may be a magnum opus by the time I get done. But the point is that I wrote the draft. I was so unsure of myself because I'm not a person of letters. I'm a person of numbers. So I said, you know, I don't want to expose myself. I just want to do that. But eventually, my wife said, hey, you know, you've got all this work to put on this book. So I went ahead and got it published, self-published. It is one of 5 books that I hope to complete. So it'll be the McBride family series. It is terribly dissimilar from Kirkland's story, if you will, after my great-grandfather. But I've now decided I can use my imagination to do all kinds of crazy things. And so my characters do a lot of different things. But this particular book is very much follows my great-grandfather's itinerary. And as the fellow said, he left the east, went to the west, and in this story, he ends up in San Francisco. And so most of the book is about San Francisco and the crazy things that went on in that city in the mid-1800s. San Francisco has always been a wild city, maybe the wildest in the whole world. So what we're seeing now is nothing different than what they had back in the mid-1800s. But at that point, it was just starting to grow. So what they had was mud streets, and they had elaborate casinos, however, because there was a lot of gold out there. That's the purpose for San Francisco to start. So that's pretty much what the story is about. A young man who tries to find his way in the world, and the people he comes across, the different cultures that he encounters, and how he deals with them. And in some respects, this book is very similar to what's going on in the world today. At that point in time, the cultures were not friendly. There was a lot of dominance and a lot of problems. So I think you'll see some interesting comments about how those things have changed and how some of them have. But that's the nature of the book. Anybody have any questions? By the way, that artwork is mine. I'm almost afraid to claim it, but I decided I might as well just draw this guy, right? This young kid. So he ended up at 16 years old, and by the time this book is done, he's about 25 years old, and just full of in vinegar, if you know what I mean.
I love the cover.
Yeah, all good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm impressed. And so there's 2 books already published. The sequel to this, and then the third one I'm working on now. The third one will cover a period between 1904. There's a very specific reason for that date in the book. You'll see it right away. And maybe it'll end up around 1930 or 1940. I'm not sure yet.
The legacy continues.
But it's family members and how they interface with each other in good ways and bad ways.
So do you pour into your people that are your children? Do you pour into them and let them know about the legacy so they can continue on?
Yes, yeah. So I'm part Hispanic. Can't see that very easily. But my grandfather married a Hispanic lady, and I saw the conflict that their progeny, their children went through in multicultural marriages. So one of the big drivers for me was to try to explain the agony and the great beauty of multiculture. So that's why the title, Equal but Alike.
That's great. That's great.
My website is jmkirklandwords .com. Okay. So I have a website. It has about 50 blogs in there, little vignettes about the events and things that happened during that time to try to explain factual things about that history of that period of time. Maybe I should have been a history professor after all. I'm not sure.
Not too late.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Give it up for Mike Kirkland. Thank you, sir. The author of the book, Equal and Alike. Now, our next speaker, definitely, we're saving the best for last. She's been through a lot since 2014. I was reading her profile. And she lives to empower women to fulfill their purpose as she conquers 5 deadly illnesses as an example to believing in the power of God. She has always lived with the motivation of captivating others to fight for the better version of themselves. And as the daughter of a full bird colonel, she learns of the power of a good fight and the knowledge to be equipped to win. Now, her book, Battle Scars, My Life is Worth Fighting For. I Am a Warrior. It was about thriving personality, retired from catering business into surviving 5 deadly illnesses back to back since 2014. Very interesting story of fighting and surviving and always considering everything is worth fighting for. Let's hear it from the author herself, Diona Maria Joyner Wheeler.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay? Sounds like it's okay. Very good. Again, my name is Diona Joyner Wheeler. I'm the daughter of a full bird colonel. So about Vietnam, we talked about earlier, I understand about fighting. And that's literally, thank you so much. That's literally how I was equipped to fight against these 5 deadly illnesses. I had I had breast cancer, which actually started everything in 2014, and I've had sepsis. I've had a stroke. I also had heart failure, and I now am a recipient of a heart transplant, and soon to receive a kidney transplant from my husband of 38 years, who's behind you right there. So I'll be getting a kidney transplant in June. I'm excited about that. Thank you so much. But the amazing thing is that as a motivational speaker, you never know how God is going to challenge you as you build your story. So I was willing to surrender and accept what it is that is coming my way. And that's the key to being able to never give up, is understanding your purpose. So the name of my book is Battle Scars, My Life is Worth Fighting For. I am a warrior. I am. I know I am. And how I survived 5 deadly illnesses. The average person may not be able to survive one, but I survived 5. And it was challenging. It wasn't an easy thing, but I guess what, I always kept a smile on my face. Um, but how I came up with the title is that one day I was looking in the mirror. I had a double mastectomy. Those you know about breast cancer, you know all the different treatments you have to go through. And I was looking in the mirror and I said, oh my God, I feel like I look so ugly. I had a bald head. I had all these scars. I didn't have any breasts, But I just said, you know what, God, I know that you're able. You're going to do something with this. And so my husband came behind me and hugged me and said, I don't see what you see. He said, I see a warrior. He said, those are just your battle scars. And you're just preparing for the bigger and greater things that God has in store for you. So you never know how God is going to come, but he came. And it's so funny. I feel like I asked for it. I said, God, I want to go to the next level of my ministry. I want a larger platform to empower women to fulfill their destiny. So you never know how he's going to come. And I was ready for it. And so thank God I had the support team, like I said, my husband and my kids now that are graduates. But I'm just excited and looking forward to the future. But in my book, you're going to see how you can be empowered, not only to get through any illnesses or diseases that you may have, but also mental illness is really occurring and hitting like a pandemic, really. I mean, so many young kids, so many adults are going through mental illness. And I just know that this book will also help you be restored mentally. Because if you can fight physically, you can fight mentally. Because really, 90% of my health overcoming, if you will, was because of my mindset. I never wanted to give up, but I also looked forward to fighting for my family. That's why I says fighting for it's worth fighting for my life because I have established a wonderful life with 38 years with my husband. My kids are grown. I want to see them get married. I want to see them have children. I want to be a grandma, a young grandma. But no, I'm sure old grandma. But I'm just excited about the next chapter. And I do have another book that's already out on Amazon. It's the Overcoming Your Battles Journey. It's a journal. And I feel that in there with the affirmations and everything that I have, the prayers, I just want to come alongside you and say, hey, you can get through it. You don't have to give up. And as you are overcoming your fears and things that you're dealing with, you can write down in the journal and say, you know what, Deanna can get over it. Deanna can get through it. I can too. So sometimes we need to write those things down to discover who you really are and your purpose and release the burdens and the tragedies in your life that may conflict with you moving forward in your life. So a lot of those things we have to release and overcome. So I am an overcomer. I am a warrior. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram, Deanna Wheeler. And also I have a blog that's called fightforyoucampaign.com because I believe that we need to fight for, you need to fight for yourself, right? Because nobody else will except you. You know what you've been through. Everybody's not going to know your story. So Fight For You is the blog, and I love you to follow me. Thank you so much. I'm excited. Readers Magnet, thank you for the platform you created for us. All righty. Thank you so much.
Do you have any questions for Diona?
Are you healthy now? I mean, are you over
Well,
it?
I am.
Remission, or
Well, you know what? I had cancer in 2014. So yes, I've been cancer free. It never reoccurred. However, it impacted my life with all the other illnesses that came after. So the kidney transplant is my last hurdle. And in the book, the last thing that I say is that he's a match. And that's so. Guess what? The next yes, the last thing in my book says he's a match. So that means something else is yet to come. That means the next chapter in my life or our lives is yet to come.
all roses?
Yes, that was the last hurdle. It was the finish line, and you'll notice actually on my journal you'll see the finish line. Me actually going through the finish line. So I'm excited about it. Thank you so much. Yes.
Any other questions?
Oh, any questions?
I wish you luck.
Yes.
You know, there's been times in my life when I've been very thin, but I don't think I beat you.
Yeah, yeah.
You might disappear if you just keep going. So when you have less on your bones, you have to rely more on spirit power.
Yes, absolutely. That is a physical and mental strength. Yes, because the doctors will not give me a kidney transplant until I get to 101, and I went all the way down to 88. So yeah, the illness caused me to go really, really small. I've always maintained 120, 125. So yes, mental and physical strength is what's going to allow me to endure the next chapter.
So you're now like trying to eat healthy.
I am. Well, when I went in to see the doctor last week, I had weighed 87.
Oh, you still.
I mean 97.
Okay.
I weighed 97. 97. But now I weigh 101. So look at God. I only have to get to 102. So with your prayers, thank you so much.
Where can we find you?
Again, Deanna Wheeler on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And also I have my blog, fightforyoucampaign.com, which is going to allow us to continue the process. You can, also you can hire me to be a mentor or a counselor. 'Cause I'm a licensed minister as well. So all those things to keep in contact, I can help you get through yours. Thank you.
A round of applause, please, for Diona. Such an inspiring story. Any other authors that didn't have a chance to speak, please come. Let me know. I believe we're saving Diona for the last, and the best for last, right? I can see that. So we have plentiful of authors who are going to be here tomorrow as well while we resume the second day of LA Times Festival of Books. Congratulations, everybody. To those who are watching online on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, thank you so much for hanging with us and hanging in there, staying with us, and hopefully tomorrow you're going to be with us again. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for being here today. So we'll expect probably tomorrow we'll have more because it's a Sunday. Waiting for the rest of our book signing authors to complete their day where they're giving out their books. And I believe we're going to be speaking to Mr. Lipinski later when he's done. Tomorrow there'll be 8 more authors who are going to be doing a book signing with us. So it's a jam-packed day. We have really just doubled everything since last year, right?
Yes.
How's your day so far, Miss Pebbles?
It's been great. I enjoyed this little mini confab. It's nice to get to know the authors a little bit better and their work.
I can remember that Miss Pebbles really enjoyed it last time in New York as well. Because that was her first time, and she truly enjoyed it. And hopefully, we'll probably really hope that all of these authors who are with us today and you sir can join us in Book Confab next week in San Francisco. It's going to be in San Francisco. We have 33 authors scheduled to speak for the next 3 days from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if I'm not mistaken with the dates, it's going to be on the 28th, 29th, and 30th. It's going to be in San Francisco. We're still going to be live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube next week in San Francisco. But we have one more day tomorrow, right, Jim? We're going to be here. We're still going to have a second day tomorrow at LA Times Festival of Books. Sure. What can you say about today, sir?
I drove about 6 hours to get here, 5.5 on the freeway, and then the rest of it is in LA. And it was worth the drive just to hear the sharing of these wonderful people, the authors. Really inspiring.
Thank you so much, sir. And we really totally enjoyed it. We're glad that we found your book. And if I'm not mistaken, it's right in front of everyone. It was right there. Thank you so much. Jim, how are you? Yeah, do you have any message? You're still live. While we're wrapping up, Jim Ruther, it was a successful book signing, right? How is it?
All I can say is that when I was speaking here, I was in a different place. It was so inspirational, and to see the faces and reaction of my fellow authors. As I said, I was in a special place that I never imagined I would be. It's a place of peace and love and kindness and sharing, and the stories of inspiration and hope that were spoken today was just a miracle, and I'm truly blessed. So thank you. Be seeing you.
Thanks so much, Jim. We're going to be seeing more of Jim tomorrow. He'll be doing his interview. We did attempt today. We explored a lot, but then we had to. I know, it's always better in the second time. Hopefully no third. Because we don't have more days. We only have tomorrow. Thank you so much, Jim. All right, we're still live until 5, if I'm not mistaken. If you guys have questions, if you're interested to know the whereabouts of our authors, let me know. Any story that struck you today, we've had probably 30 authors who spoke today through ReadersMagnet live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you have any questions, let us know. Shoot us a question through our messenger. Yeah, and I think everyone is still watching. Readers Magnet is so thankful to be part of LA Times Festival of Books again. Since last year, it was a great experience, and we have just doubled the booth, and I'm so happy and proud about us. Thanks, Liz, for the help today. We'll expect you tomorrow. Thank you. Again, to those watchers that we have online, if you have questions, let us know. Just send us a comment and whatever. If you have anything that you would like to clarify, if you have any authors that struck you today, any stories that struck you today, let me know. Just send me a message, and I'll let you know the whereabouts. All right, in the meantime, we're going to be touring you around the Reader's Magnet booth. Right now, we have Mr. Edward Lipinski doing his book signing. Edward, Mr. Lipinski is giving out his books, Visions of Destiny and Werewolf in Madison Avenue. We have here our Vice President, John Carl, who went straight to California from London just a few days ago. How are you doing?
So who's going to interview me here?
ETTA.
I am going to interview. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm losing my voice, but I'm doing great.
Well, Mariah Carey and Regina Velasquez lose their voice.
I know. But they all have singing voice.
Yeah, that's right.
Again, if you have any questions, shoot us a question in the comment section below. If you need to know the names of the authors, their whereabouts, let me know so I can give you the response right away.
It's kind of crazy. I used to work in advertising. So I wrote about advertising and some of the crazy people. Not exactly. I exaggerated. But then I wanted to go. I had a crazy idea about the
It worked.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine. Edward. Hi. Hi. You can read it now. But... Oh. Yes. And look at my screen. Mabel. M-A-B-E-L. M-A-B-E-L. Both make them.
Thank you so much.
You write your name down here. Who am I addressing?
Leah.
Leah. L-E-A. L-E-A. Oh, that's right. I should have known that. See, that's why I asked.
Yeah, there's so many different ways.
Honestly, this book looks really good.
Those books are interesting. But they're different.
Like completely opposite.
Not completely opposite. Just one has a monster in the world. The other doesn't. So it's not werewolf and son of wolf.
Okay.
James? James, sign it for you. That's the other thing you have to do. About to. Then nothing's better than signed by the author. Oh, that makes my day. Oh, yes. Also, James. James the Burble. The book, well, obviously the novel is fantasy, but it mixes horror and humor together. And yet, Destiny is really more serious. It has some poignant sadness. When you read one of my books, you read one. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's a good thing you wrote that out. Ciancarlo.
Zero rainbow. Mommy, no rainbow. It's seis. Estos son rainbows. Seis.
Oh, Carl.
Really? How about that? Oh, okay.
I'm going to say that to everybody. Okay, I'm going to try.
Sit. 5, 3, 2, 1. Okay, wait, I'm gonna get one down below so you guys like, yeah, that's it. That's like, oh, that's great. Power. The Warriors, although I like the Kings too. I know we have Lakers fans here today, but that's okay. Oh, yeah, one more. Oh, it's another league right here? Yeah. Oh, okay, some more. Oh, it says low battery. Okay, so sometimes. Smile. Okay. Okay, one more. I'm sorry. One more. Sure.
I'm going to get mine next.
He's a moment. I know, get mine next. He's a moment. Okay, on your mark. Okay, by the way, somebody's done it. On your mark. Get set. This one. Okay. Smile, go. Go. That's a nice picture. Oh, whoa. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. So you're not real. You're not official. You get no identity. Okay, good. Okay, there you go. Okay, I think it's it. One more?
I'm trying to
Yeah, that's a beautiful dress you have on.
Thank you. I wanted to stand out today.
It's stealing the show. Mark, it's set. Go. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, you always say it, you. That makes sense. Yeah. Yes. I got it.
So how long have you been writing? Mine closed too. my baby. Yes, and I went to mom's in 1992.
Every time.
I did that to you earlier, right? When you did your book signing. Sorry, Edward.
Right. See, they're doing it from home since they get it.
Yeah, take it. Hey.
You work?
You work now, baby. I'm going to throw the bench.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we throw the bench all the time. We throw caterers. Listen, I mean, it's just they ain't got to buy a job.
Yeah, I'm thinking about some random people. It works. I'm getting him right here.
That's that sales.
Sure.
That's that sales.
No,
that's that sales. That's that sales. That's that sales. How you doing? Absolutely. Absolutely.
You can take a picture right there with this guest.
Yes.
Okay, you know what?
So you might have to do it over. That's it. All of us never stop. All of us never stop. You know what I'm saying?
That's basically this.
I'll put it all on myself. Yes.
Normally,
it
should be in the
there you go.
Oh, you read.
What you learned. You read what you learned.
You need to take pictures. Everybody around. Can somebody take out a picture? Yeah, I hold it.
There you go. I'm going to take one of him.
There you go.
There you go. I'm going to take one of him too.
Oh yeah, that's it. Look at y'all. See, y'all coaching. I love this. Y'all are coaching. Ma'am, can you come take a picture of this brother? That's your phone. Hold his book. Yep. And you might have to retake it where he's holding your book. I think you was holding it. Oh yeah. Post it. Oh, yeah, post every one of them. Boy, I got you. So, you don't know.
Hello, mic test. I hope you guys can hear me well. I'm using a microphone right now. Just let me know if you cannot hear me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tour you around the ReadersMagnet booth here at LA Times Festival events. Come with me. So this is the lounge that we're doing, the book confab, the mini book confab. It's more like a tryout for next week's book confab that we're going to be doing in San Francisco. Then we have here a walkway to right across it. We have Mr. Edward Lipinski doing his book signing right now with a line of interested book readers. Hi, ma'am. Edward here giving away his book, Visions of Destiny. Okay. And then we have some displays here of the books who have registered under ReadersMagnet. Right across here is our scavenger hunt area. where all of our authors are on display too. If you can remember, we had Natalia Salinas spoke earlier. Then we have Cynthia Giacchino spoke earlier. We have Jim Ruther spoke earlier. Joseph DeCons who spoke earlier. We have Letitia. So pretty much a lot of authors who actually went by and visited the booth today, and they were given a chance to speak about their stories, and it's a very inspiring one. So we didn't even notice it's already almost 5 in the afternoon here in California. So we have more here. We can hear more from Bryn Leach tomorrow. Yeah, she's going to be doing more poems tomorrow. Then we had Hilda Para earlier. She was the first one to spoke today. And then, wow, this is very um, surprising now having Hilda. And we have here Diona's books actually sitting right next to each other. And Hilda was the first one who spoke today, and the one who closed the book confab here in LA Times is Diona Wheeler. This is amazing. We have more books on display. Most of our children's books on display are here outside. Hello, we're live, sir. Hi, thank you for driving by.
Nice. Whoever's in here, I hope you have a
Yeah,
good day.
we're being watched around the world right now. We're live on YouTube, on Facebook, and Twitter from Readers Magnet. And I can see that you're lining up to grab a copy of his
Of
book.
course, yep. We got 2 books right here.
Are you from USC too?
I'm not from USC.
You're not from
She
USC.
is right here.
Oh, she's from USC.
Getting her book signed.
So, but you love reading those books. This is a new, recently published book, Visions of Destiny.
Really, we were both excited for this one.
Yes, but this one is really interesting too. I think he wrote this last year. He's from New York, Mr. Lipinski. All right. So those are a few of our visiting fairgoers who grab a copy of the book. Here we have the Readers Magnet staff who helped us today. Hi, Liz. How are you? Thanks for helping us today.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, Leah.
Very tiring, but
Very
worth
time,
it.
very worth it for sure. How about you, Catherine? How are you? Mr. Lavi and Mr. Savage. Yeah, you can grab some water. It's for everyone. Are you gonna be here tomorrow?
I'm thinking about it now.
We're still live.
I wasn't gonna do it, but now I might show up.
I strongly recommend you should be here in the morning. So we open at 10. Probably can speak around 11. You'll be here.
I'll try and do that.
All right, great.
There's so much traffic.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And on the other side, right across Mr. Lipinski's booth, is the other booth of our book signing authors. So we're almost done for the day. Actually, we're almost done for the day. This is our pick-me table. All these bookmarks, materials, marketing materials are up for grabs. And we still have some of our authors here. This is the outside view of Reader's Magnet booth, which is quite big, which I'm so proud about. And we still have a lot of fairgoers, even if it's almost 5, here in USC. Today is the day 1 of LA Times Festival of Books. And definitely we're expecting a lot of fairgoers today because it's the first day of LA Times. Mr. Lipinski is still doing his book signing. So today we've had a very successful day 1 run of our book signing authors. We started off with Gerald Skolnick, who wrote the book We're All Crazy, Get Used to It. And then we did have Dr. Julius Mosley II, when he wrote a book Living Life with Blinders On. So he was able to speak earlier as well during our confab. Then we did have Cynthia Giacchino, Quiet and Fear. Now we did have Mr. Edward Lipinski still doing his book signing, but you heard him earlier, spoke about his 2 books. Tomorrow we're expecting for
Bye.